Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. How you doing, Ben?
Doing very well, very, very well. Plus, a very special returning guest. I know it sounds a bit ominous, it's not. Emma Cownley is a freelance writer for music and lifestyle brands, occasional horror respondent for Metal Hammer, and regular Horror Hangout interloper slash friend of the show. Welcome back, Emma. Hello.
Hello. Hey.
Whoa!
Calm
I can
down.
put that.
We won't be able to hear if you don't stop cheering. Come on.
Stop
All right,
it!
guys, settle down, settle
Yeah.
down. I
Tell you,
know.
Chanting.
tell you what, it's a bit like we've been injected with something that makes you become your best self. And look what's next to us now, Ben.
Oh,
Oh,
look at
I want to
that.
be the Monstro
Yeah.
version, though,
Yeah.
of both
Get on
of
the
you.
bathroom floor and get your paste in you. We'll be back next
Oh,
week, everybody.
Yeah, Ben's face on my back.
get your paste in you.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't slap up your paste too quick. Otherwise, you'll get a withered finger when you get back up.
oh, not the old withered finger. We've all been there. That's like when your fingers have been in the bath for too long, isn't it? That
Just
is.
one
I
finger.
was going to say something rude then.
What were you going to say that was rude?
Something about something about masturbation. Sorry. Um, Emma, how are you? How have you been? Last time you were on the show, Fright Fest, fresh off the back of watching The Substance as well,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Oh no, you hadn't seen it yet, or had you? No, you hadn't.
We had a recording of Emma on the show
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
left you
after
a
right.
she's seen the
voice note on
substance. Yeah.
Instagram being like, oh my God, basically for every category, I was like really trying hard not to put this film as my pick for every category.
Yeah,
Had
You
to give
had
the
to
other films a
you had to be really
chance.
specific and say best fruit-based yogurt is not the substance.
Yeah, yeah. I just thought it was amazing, and I couldn't wait for everyone else to see it.
yeah. So me and Andy obviously missed it when it was the final film of Fright Fest. But I'm so glad that I watched it as soon as it was in cinemas. I saw like a preview screening, so did see it a couple of weeks ago now. Um, but I'm so glad I did because my God, the internet has been going wild. The internet has gone crazy for a bit of substance action. Um,
Yeah, and can you
the
imagine that on the last day of Fright Fest, closing film with a cinema packed full of Fright Festers?
oh
Yeah.
my, yeah. Can you tell us about that? What was that like?
It was a joyous riot of laughter and noise. And you know our little mate from Sweden, Axel,
Yeah.
ran
Oh
into
yeah.
him at the end, and he was like, "I nearly threw up like three times. I'm having a panic attack," and I had to assist him because
Oh
he
my
was not
God.
ready
He
for
wasn't
what
ready
he
for the
knew that
substance.
film was going to
It
Poor
feels
be.
like
Axel.
your experience there was like those legends from Cannes a couple of years ago when the Joker came out and people are just running down the street, knocking over old people. They've gone mad.
There was a 45-minute standing ovation. Was there a standing ovation? Should have been.
I feel like there should have been. I can't remember. I
Yeah.
don't think there was.
Poor Axel. Is there a way to find out if Axel's okay?
Yeah, I've got him on Discord. He's
Oh,
fine.
nice.
Oh, is he recovered now?
Yeah, but
Oh, look.
I don't think he was quite ready. Like, I don't think that visceral gore in that
Mm.
way, such as was in the finale, I don't
I
think he was
mean,
quite ready for that.
totally unexpected as well, right? That final
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah. I felt like there was a line that I was expecting them to reach, and then they went, see that line? Fuck that off. I'm going to the one that's 10 lines further.
Were there any audible gasps or audible reactions from anyone next to you,
Oh yeah.
behind you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Everyone was like, oh my God, like everyone. It
it
was
is
great.
definitely that kind of film, isn't it? Yeah.
And I was like, no exaggeration. That is just mouth agape. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I definitely think this film, like, you think, oh wow, like this is like whoa. And then again, it steps up again and it steps up again and it steps up again. And you're like, I just don't understand how this can keep outdoing itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outdoing itself to the
How
nth
was your
degree as
screening,
well.
Ben? How busy
Yeah,
was
I
it?
mean, fairly busy. Yeah, I think you could tell that there were a lot of people who definitely weren't prepared for what they were seeing. I think from the trailers, you can kind of see it as like a cutting sort of exploration of beauty and obviously beauty standards and various things like that. Um, I don't think anyone expected it to go where it did. And even, do you know what? Even if we didn't have that final half an hour, I still think it is an unbelievably great film,
Hmm.
with so many amazing visuals, some really great performances. Like I've always rated Demi Moore anyway, but this is like one of her best. And Margaret Qualley, is that you say her name? I'm only really familiar with her because of Death Stranding, and she was great in that. I know she's got smaller parts in some Tarantino things, and what's she
Is she
most
also in
famous for?
Revenge? Director's other film, is
No,
she in that?
no, not in Revenge. Oh, she's in Poor Things as well. And you know what? Maybe I'm getting the wrong end of the stick, but I'm happy to get the wrong end of the stick for a while. Her ass just massive on the screen, just gyrating in spandex. It was the Call on Me video all over again, wasn't it? I think a sexual awakening for many a teenage boy, and this kind of threw back to that.
I think that's one of the things that this film does really well, though. Like, you cannot get away from it. What it wants to show you, it will show you up close, tight shot, no
Hmm.
way for you to get away from it. And it will linger and linger and linger. So you've got no choice but to look. And it will slow motion and it will amplify every sound of what you were looking at. So, like, in moments of disgust, you have no choice but to feel the revulsion. And in moments of kind of the male gaze, you're forced to look at these women the way that they are being looked at
Hmm.
Mm,
through like male eyes. And like, if you look at Demi Moore, she's not shot like that in that film.
mm. No,
Yeah.
even
um
when even
but
when she's doing
Margaret
like
Qualley
aerobics and
is.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you
Maybe
mean.
more so in the early scene when that is still what she's being sold as on television until Dennis Quaid changes his mind, right? But yeah,
It's
it
it's
becomes more and more sort of binary as it goes through the, even the
Yeah.
color grading that's on the film as we go in there. I have a slightly smaller cinema than the Odeon at the Leicester Square, maybe like one or two sizes smaller here at the Perth Playhouse Screen 6. Um, but you know what? We had a decent crowd for like a midweek showing that I went to last week. It was still a good over half full screening. And yeah, I think like you, Emma, maybe not so much of a huge crowd, but it was obviously a mixed, not necessarily just huge horror fanatic audience. And I've had such a good time like looking around in the screening.
mm.
There was one particular group, and it looked like a family outing because they were all of like slightly different ages, and I was like, can you imagine this car ride home for this family that you've been on now? You've got a lot to talk about and unpick. But there was one of them that literally sat, I think it was the teenagers at one side. It was a boy and a girl who were both sat like almost like this towards the end. Didn't leave, which I understand is a very different experience for people seeing Megalopolis this week. But full cinema at the end, just people looking away for large portions.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some bits that I had to look away from
Mm.
for sure. Like the eating, like anything,
Oh, the
Yeah.
eating was difficult.
Greasy
the
chicken
eating was
fingers.
just,
Oh yeah,
it's
the
enough to put you
prawns,
off food
shrimp.
altogether.
Yeah, biting the heads off those little langoustines. He was horrible. I would say Dennis Quaid, not in real life, I'm sure he's very nice, but acting in this film, probably the most disgusting thing in it.
He was loving it
Horrible.
though. He was like chewing on the scenery, that guy. Like,
And the
he knew
prawns.
the role and he was like, oh, I'm going to enjoy this. Like,
Yeah. He's like, oh, hang on, let me just stop having all of this seafood to have a massive blast on this cigarette.
Oh,
Oh, what a time.
I noticed in that scene as well, they kind of made the sound so that it's inside your head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as if it was you listening. So it was kind
yeah.
of muffled, like, so it was really like invasive, I
Yeah.
think is the word that I'm trying to.
This was like IMAX ASMR as well. Like it was intense.
Have you heard? Have you heard the comparisons to this film from this film to the Nutty Professor?
Not since I saw your tweet. No.
I mean, I had to tweet it because I've been deep diving like all afternoon. Well, not all afternoon, just for a little bit this afternoon. Um, Merely the fact that somebody takes something that makes them look different and has like an internal battle, I guess, with that person's personality. That's probably the only thing, but I thought it was a funny little look at it. Seeing as I think everything else I've seen has been quite serious, the analogies about this film, which is absolutely fine
Yeah.
as well.
I've been hearing a lot of comparisons to Carrie, but I think
Mm.
that's just really the finale, isn't it? And then Society as well, which
Yeah.
kind of tracks.
Society, absolutely, yeah.
I was getting flavors of whatever happened to Baby Jane, just little hints here
Yeah,
and there.
I saw that fairly recently, yeah.
And then I reckon it's pure picture of Dorian Gray, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
I
I
Even
mean,
with a
would
that
big
her
still,
portrait
picture
behind
is
you.
even there.
yeah. I feel a lot of people saying it's Cronenberg. I think it might be more Stuart Gordon in terms of
I
like
would agree.
From Beyond
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Cronenberg feels like a little bit of an obvious finger to point, doesn't it?
Yeah, go to
Um,
film school once in your life, you hacks.
but you know what I mean. I did just compare it to The Night Professor, so maybe I shouldn't have led with that. Maybe
No,
now I
Ben,
can say, and it's a bit
this
like
is
The
the
Night Professor.
outsider take that you bring to this.
Well, it's not my
But
take. I didn't come up with this. I did just see it.
I also
So.
think like a woman is in a perfect position to deliver the most disgusting body horror because the things that we have to like go through and get involved with just in the anatomy of a woman and the experience of being a woman is just really like, I mean, we're gushing blood for an entire week every single month. The stuff that goes on, the stuff you see. So, like, women and childbirth, are you kidding? Like, we're up close to the really grisly reality of living in a human flesh suit.
Mm.
And I think,
And
I
is
wonder why people like Cronenberg are like lauded so high when women could
mm.
really fuck you up
So
with some of the stuff they
you haven't
know.
seen the half of it. What's that, Cronenberg? What's worse? You've had a cold, cut your knee once, did you?
Is
I
that
pushed a
is
human out of my vagina, David. What have you done
David?
lately?
God,
I ate my own placenta raw for the nutrients, David. Where have
fried it
you
up.
In the
been?
woods.
My nipples are cracked and bleeding. What's up with you, David? How
He likes
dare
that.
you?
Is that
My arm's
why?
sore from carrying this camera about.
Yeah. Oh, my eyes are tired from looking so
Do you
much.
think that's the way this film like forces you to look at things? So I think there are a lot of things about women that men find it very easy to look the other way on.
Yeah.
Or
Periods,
look
childbirth.
at more so than you might
No, but look
maybe
the other
should.
way at like periods. Look the
Yeah.
other way. Can you buy me these tampons from the shop?
Be
Excuse
a bit
me?
embarrassed.
I'll be a bit embarrassed of that. Childbirth can just leave the room if you want. A lot of fathers
Yeah.
do
You can
that.
be completely emancipated from the entire process.
Well, can you
And
put a
is that
sheet up so I can be supportive but
So I don't have to
not
see you
see any of the
slice
gross
her
bit?
stomach open and pull our
Yeah.
child out through the front of her.
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah.
is this
Is there anywhere I can charge my iPad? This could take a while.
But I do think, it is like the experience of being a woman is a fucking horror show. Like I watch a lot of plastic surgery videos on YouTube just for the entertainment of it. I get not entertainment, but I'm interested in what people are getting done and like why they would do that. And you hear so many stories of women injecting themselves, doing their own filler with stuff that is unregulated black
Hmm.
market,
Hmm.
or they've just bought from somewhere because they are so desperate to modify themselves to fit the standard that they will do whatever it takes. Or people that are, BBL butt procedures have such a high mortality rate. Like women are dying from this procedure, and still women will go not just for one, but for several to get the perfect ass. Like women are dying in pursuit of like
And even
the standard.
you
So it's
talk
not
about
far
how
fetched, like
you
that you
talk
would
about like
birth someone out of your back.
but even in that one, like we talk about the unregulated things, and you talk about watching the plastic surgery videos, even the most certified and the most like qualified person to do any type of cosmetic procedure, when you watch these videos and you see these procedures taking place, even in the most controlled environments, they are brutal,
It's
brutal
brutality.
operations. They are,
Liposuction. Have you seen
yeah,
them? They just
Yeah.
like
Oh.
like honestly, like it goes around there like me with a hangover having to run the Henry about in the basement and like knocking into
What the
corners.
fuck?
It is devastating. Even things like that you might think of as a relatively small cosmetic operation. You watch someone get like an adjustment to their nose. Someone has to smash your face with a hammer and then chisel bits off the cartilage,
mm.
and you see like literally looks like someone's in possessor with someone like manipulating like their unconscious face by jabbing a needle around in there. Like these procedures that disproportionately women put themselves through are incredibly violent acts that people not only are willing to put themselves through but pay thousands upon thousands of pounds for the
And
for
when
the
you look at
privilege.
people like Bella Hadid and Kylie Jenner, they had surgeries, so many extensive surgeries to their faces before they were even fully developed adults because of the pressure of the environment that they're in. And I just think how awful that they felt that they had to do that. And that's why when I saw this film, it's just like it's so profoundly sad and so profoundly true that you're in a position where you just have to laugh at the horror of it.
Yeah.
Like when she's there going through all of this and like starting to go wrong and they're like, okay, you can cancel it now, but you will be left on your own. She can't bear it. And she's
Mm.
like, I'm going to risk this because I can't bear it. And I was just like, oh, babe, like the highs and the lows in this film, the rage, the sadness, the despair, the like shock, like and the unexpected humor, it just makes everything feel so much keener. Like all the
Yeah.
emotions feel a lot sharper because they're so like potently dropped throughout, if you know what I mean.
And I feel like it is especially effective because it's not without hope. If something was just an exercise in misery porn and it was just sad, 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 like
Yeah, no one would
depressing
watch it.
throughout, like it's a very different story. But in this one, there are the sparks of hope and the sparks of joy and the opportunity for it just to go right for they are one and the same, but either of our characters, for it just to work out for them and that to be a way for them to get through and for them to be happy. And I think with Elizabeth's character, she almost manages to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And maybe she will find someone who could value her or can appreciate her for what she is rather than what she could be. And it's very, very sad. It's probably one of the saddest parts of the movie where she can't bring herself to go and
Yeah,
meet
and
Fred.
he's
Fred's his name.
texting.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it's so sad. But I think also when you're delivering a message like this, which is the hypocrisy and ageism and the double standard, like all of the women have to be flawless in the film, but Dennis Quaid can be disgusting and vulgar and loud and uncouth. He's allowed. All of the other men are allowed to be old. They're allowed to be disgusting. They're allowed to do whatever they want to do. The women absolutely cannot be like that. And I think if you're delivering a message like that, you have to like sugarcoat the medium almost and get kind of people that are still kind of under the spell of that into the cinema. Oh, we're watching a crazy, gory film, but they're actually, being given a fucking lesson in disguise, a slap of reality to the face.
What do you think this means for the filmmaker, Coralie Fargeat? Is that how we're saying her name? Am I saying that correctly?
Farsha.
Fargeat. Coralie Fargeat. Obviously, Revenge was a very um,
Was a bit much.
intense experience. I'd only seen it for the first time this week. I don't know why I'd never got around to it. It was
I
it
still
was
haven't
very
seen it.
intense, and I guess is in the same way as we're kind of exploring these relationships between men and women as like possessions and sex objects in a way. That is a very different take on that. Yeah, it was insane, that film, wasn't it? Insane in a different way. A bit much for you, you said, Emma.
Yeah, yeah. I in my experience as a woman, I prefer not to watch things where violence against women happen, like it happens in that way, even when they can come back and get revenge, just because it plays on too many real fears that I have. And like I I just can't. So I've actually spoken to people at Fright Fest who come to watch horror films as a way of like dealing with trauma. And I had a really deep conversation actually in between screenings, like in the cinema of all places, with a woman like a couple of years ago who was saying that she actually had really bad sexual trauma and going to see horror films and like, you know, like rape revenge films or like female revenge films and stuff, like really helps her feel like she can watch it and she can kind of, and I was like, wow, that's really powerful. But I it's not for me. Like even to an extent, there were parts of the substance that I could recognize things that I had thought about myself or things that I had been prepared to do to myself in order to fit that goal, that perfect end goal. And like horrible things I put myself through and did like damage to my body from doing it. And like I was watching it and like being out the other side, it was kind of still made me so sad to see. And like, yeah, so it's a kind of like I guess that's why I feel the connection for me is so powerful and why I just thought, wow, wow,
I
what a
guess it's
film.
just like it's not just like it's the women's relationship with food. That's something that I perhaps didn't expect to be sort of included so thoroughly as well. But yeah, absolutely tons of stuff that we will get into as well. But maybe also Demi Moore's got a lovely coat, a
That yellow
lovely
coat,
yellow
magnif.
coat.
Dick
Is that a
Tracy, but yeah,
character
she's
in itself? I was like, oh, that yellow coat's getting some serious screen time. I'm
yeah.
It
enjoying it.
did, didn't
I
it?
think I know we'll take a break and do the news and everything, Ben, but I think before we even dive into more analysis on the substance, Emma, even more so than usual, I'm so glad you're here. I think the last thing that the internet needs is two guys talking about this. I'm sure there's enough of that already. And
Yeah, that's why
we'll
I insisted.
we'll do our
I was
best
like,
to
you
give
can't
some
talk about
perspective,
this
but
without a
I
woman.
we need someone who actually has that lived experience. I already feel um if someone wants my opinion on this in the future, I'll say, here's an audio clip of Emma that I keep on my phone. Have a listen. This is honestly so
keep
cool
it on your
quality.
phone, you absolute creep.
All my
Uh,
podcasts live on the phone, Ben. Come on.
I
Every
think
recorded sound in the world is accessible. Don't paint me with that one,
every
Dennis
recorded sound.
Quaid.
I don't know if we were definitely going to do a full episode on this film originally. Then of course after everything, the sort of reaction to the film, and then also you did mention on our Fright Fest episode, you commented saying that if you do a substance episode, get me on board. And I think most almost all the time if we're talking about a film like this, we like to get somebody on who we feel like is going to offer something. Not say me and Andy, we'll give it our best shot, but I think most of the time for stuff like this, we try and get somebody on who can probably give it a different opportunity, a different because the world is full of white fellas talking
With
about
podcasts.
with
Sadly.
podcasts. But I tell you what, when we started this podcast 7 years ago, it's nowhere near as bad as it is now. So I feel like we subjected that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
the state of things was nowhere near as bad, not the podcast.
yeah.
No. I mean
Yeah.
this one has gone from strength to strength, but the podcast community at large, yeah.
I like joking about it though. I do like it.
Yeah,
I
we
enjoy
have to, and
laughing.
I think we have folks like you, Emma, and our other wonderful guests
Keep us
that can bring
grounded.
just an air of
Yeah.
legitimacy and a little bit more diversity
Keep us
of thought,
grounded.
and then I can just concentrate on thinking of alternative films that rhyme with the one we've talked about. So stay in your lane,
That's the
everybody.
important stuff. That's the
Yeah.
important stuff. Uh, Obviously, we'll get into the substance in a moment. Got some horror news to discuss. Horror news, first of all, in relation to this show. That's right, Horror Hangout podcast. This month, you know what? Things are a little bit different because I'm off to America for a little bit, for about 3 weeks. We're still trying to work out how we're going to plug the gap of the time when I'm away. We are going to be regular programming up until like mid-October, and we will resume again in mid-November. So it's only a few weeks we're going to be off. Annoyingly so during Halloween, but don't worry because content and our feeds will continue to be full of various goodies because I'm doing a lot of horror focused stuff when I'm in America. Getting married as well. That's not the horror stuff. Can be for somebody. Some people are terrified of commitment. Not
Are you
me.
getting
That's
married
right.
in
Yes,
So
you are.
Vegas?
And if you are,
I'm
just
get
fly alone. All right.
I am getting married in Vegas, Emma. That's
I
correct.
got married in Vegas. It's a good
Did
shout.
you?
Yeah.
We're cut
Actually, it's
from
my
the
wedding
same.
anniversary at the end of the
Oh,
month.
is it?
13 years
What
married.
date?
Wow.
What date? Congratulations first
Look,
off.
I can't look. Is the date
You're gonna dox
important?
yourself.
It's the fact that it happened.
If it's the
Look,
24th of October, that's when I'm getting married.
it's the 28th.
Oh, okay, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So while we're in America, luckily, my other half, Charlie, who's been on the show several times, so you'll know her. She's big into horror as well, which is very good, isn't it? So we're doing all the stuff. We've got experiences and attractions and filming locations we're going to visit. We're doing Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, Escape the Blair Witch, Museum of Death, Icons of Darkness, Mystic Museum, Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, and filming locations will be Halloween, Poltergeist, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Insidious, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hoping we can tick all of that off, but we're out there for a little while, so hopefully we should. Or we've just confirmed the Not Scary Farm as well, which has got some sort of Elvira experience going on. Yeah.
And a lovely time.
And
You're living a horror dream. So yeah, check all those out while Ben's away.
Yeah,
keep
go
an eye.
see the Dybbuk box when you go to that Zach's museum.
Hell yeah. I'm going to be. If you want to give me more suggestions of horror focused places to go in Vegas and stuff,
Well, it sounds like you're
definitely
doing them all, to be
hook me
honest.
up. Yeah, I know it does, but I'm still keen for that. We officially signed up for the um Halloween movie set locations tour, so that should be pretty fun. I'm going to be coming out from behind a hedge, and then I'll go on the tour. See what I mean? Uh, oh
You're going to be
yes,
driving past like Mike Myers down that
yeah.
street, kangarooing because you've been in prison since you were 6 and I'm
And,
driving a car.
and you know what else, Andy? If I see someone who looks even slightly like Mike Myers, like at the
You're
start
going
of
to crash
Halloween
a
2,
car into him and
I'm gonna,
explode him.
I'm gonna mow him straight down. Anyway, so yeah, if we're gonna try our very best to keep the content flowing throughout that, but slightly different to regular scheduled
So I tell you
programming
what, Ben, I
between
will
that.
not only tease the audience, but also tease you. I know you've got lots of wedding prep to do. Been slowly but surely recording a little bit of stuff quietly on my own, a little bit of cozy casting, which I will give to you,
Oh,
ready to
oh
ready to
man,
upload.
absolutely lovely. Sounds beautiful. Solo cozy casting.
Yeah, solo cozy casting. So I mean, tell you what, give you a little hint. On 31 days of Halloween, a lot of people doing it. I've already started because you know what? I know you all out there. You got busy lives. 31 films, about 90 minutes a pop each. You got
Too much.
families. You got work. It's going to be a struggle, isn't it? You don't need to don't feel ashamed about yourself. You are enough. But wanted to give you a little bit of a hand with this, and I thought, what's a great way to get a movie in, like get a bit of a horror content in when you're already busy. I know what it is. You want a little short film, don't you? So I'm on for my 31
Oh,
days of Halloween. I've been preparing myself a little list so I can recommend a short film available for you to watch um, wherever you are in the world, assuming it's available in your region. Some areas may differ, but available for you to watch for free online, a short horror film that I'm going to recommend every day on the feeds. But I'm also in preparation for that going to do a little bit of audio just to give you a whole set that you could go and
oh,
explore.
dude,
So I've already started recording it, Ben.
what a
I'll give you
pleasure.
that.
Absolutely lovely. What was Emma going
Oh,
to say? Are we going to
you
say?
are spoiling us.
You are indeed. But yeah, apart from that, this month we will be tackling next week Gone Jam, Haunted Asylum, with Stu Freeman. Terrifier 3 is happening the week after that with special guest Elizabeth Bishop. Then when we return in November, we're going to talk about opera which is showing at the Forbidden Worlds Film Festival. That's showing in mid October. We're going to talk about that when we're back in November. Heretic, a new A24 horror with Hugh Grant. And then finally on the 27th of November, we're getting Ariel Power Schaub, who is the author of the Millennial Nasties book, on to talk about Wolf Creek, scary Australian man. So yeah, are pretty stacked, despite the fact I'm going to be sneaking away. There's going to be tons and tons of horror hangout stuff on the feeds
Keeping
for
you
you to
busy.
get keeping you busy because it's the scariest time of the year, spooky time of the
I'm
year.
excited. I'm here for the lifestyle content that you've pivoted towards cozy evenings,
Yeah.
Yeah,
horror,
Andy
horror abroad.
Yeah.
Horror Abroad, Andy Conduit Turner's Deep Bath.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
ASMR content
I've
with
been inspired, Ben, by our previous guest Terrell, because I think I've been listening to his podcasts recently
yeah,
as well. He
solo.
does a great deep dive solo, and it's not going to be full length episodes, everybody. I'm not going to keep you for a whole couple of hours of just me, drive even me mad. But nice little half-hour drops that we can pop into a little bonus feed to at least keep you company and make sure the algorithms don't forget about us while you're away.
They haven't posted in 3 weeks. Delete them.
Cancelled.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Um, okay. What else? Oh, I forgot actual horror news. Sorry. The Last of Us season 2. There's a teaser trailer now. Has anybody seen this? It looks the same as the second game. It's got that Pearl Jam song in it as well. It looks like they're setting it up for exactly the same things. No spoilers, of course, but can you believe that we're getting season 2
But
of
it's here
this?
already.
Here already, and yeah, it looks like. I mean, I'm assuming they can't just include all of the second game in this because they've run out of content. Then they can't go and make a third season because there won't be a game to accompany it. But Pedro Pascal's looking good. We get our first look at Caitlin Deathers, Abby. There looks to be some really big, scary set pieces going on. Lots of additional cast members, and yeah, I'm excited. This is 2025 is when it will premiere. I don't have an official date currently.
That's
Excited?
just around the corner. It's October now, everybody. Be 2025 before you can say
God
it'll
damn.
soon be Christmas.
God damn.
Actually, no, it'll
Uh,
be 2025 after you can say it'll soon be Christmas,
yeah, don't do that.
context wise.
And also, there's a trailer. There's a new trailer for Nosferatu. I feel like I can't watch it because I don't want to see too much. I don't want to see Nosferatu turn up. I don't want to see what he looks like. I feel like the trailer's probably not going to show it anyway. But still, um, has anybody seen this new trailer? Are we
For the
I
same
have
avoiding?
seen
reasons,
the
I've been ducking
trailer.
it. It's all on you, Emma. What happens?
Um, Basically, Lily Rose Depp goes like quite a lot, and then she goes,
Yeah.
and then there's lots of kind of silhouetted shots and kind of men in groups doing things in a harried way, and then Lily Rose Depp again, and that's mostly
Oh,
the,
I
the
love
gist of it.
I love the shot of the big scary shadow hand going across like the town.
The original though, when it comes up and like, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh,
Oh.
impactful, still scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. This is a Christmas Day release as well, isn't it? Yeah, December 25th. What a
Wow.
lovely Christmas treat. Do we do that in the UK though? Do we go to the cinema? It's not really a thing that we do, is it?
They're not going to
No.
be open, are they?
Yeah, a lot of
I don't
cinemas
know.
won't be open on Boxing Day.
In
We've all got
America, they
turkey
don't
sandwiches to
care.
eat. Well,
America don't care, no.
they had
They don't
turkey
care.
sandwiches after Thanksgiving. They're sick of it by Christmas, aren't they?
You'd think that they'd have more respect for Saint Nick and his busiest day of the year
Yeah.
and his night shift. But no, they got no respect. Get the cinemas open for God's sake. Okay, that is it for horror news.
I got
What
one more bit,
we've
Ben, if you don't mind. Fright Fest adjacent, but I saw you as well, Emma. Have you
Oh
got a
no
bit
shit,
for
yeah,
us
of
as well?
course.
I
Yes.
do, yeah. Deathgasm 2, Gormageddon has officially gone into post-production and is
Oh,
expecting a release at the beginning of next year.
Oh, not long to go. Have all three of us backed that?
I
Or
don't think
only
Ben
two, and we'll
has.
never say which.
I never have. Thanks for singling me out.
I wasn't
Well,
gonna.
Andy and me are going to be in the credits.
Yeah.
So
So it all come
Yeah.
out in the end, Ben.
yeah, it
It'll all
comes
come out
out.
in
It
the
all
end.
come out
Ben, were you
publicly.
were you in the credits then? Must have forgotten. Must have forgotten me.
And if they've
Bloody
done it
hell.
alphabetically, we might even be on the screen at the same time.
Oh
Shut
my God,
up.
yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be so good to like take a little photo of that? And even as I'm saying it, I realize how lame it sounds.
Oh no, it
I
isn't. It's not
I
lame at
hope
all.
it's not
You embrace
alphabetical.
that.
Oh yeah, well.
Well, I hope it's not
Yeah,
alphabetical.
well.
I hope it's the order that you backed it, but then we backed it actually just one place apart, so our names are even more next to each
Oh wow,
other.
look at that.
Yeah.
And then
Side by side.
when we do an episode on Deathgasm 2, that's going to be our backgrounds. Just the shot of the
The
credits.
credit, yeah, you can't
I
even
feel
see
like
it, but we
I,
know.
I'm gonna be sick that week. I can feel it already.
It's all right. Me and Andy have got this. You can take that
Yeah.
week off.
See you
We'll
later.
say a podcast where the two most committed Deathgasm fans talk
Yeah,
about
you're
the
the
film
dead
that we
weight.
backed.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Keep it up. I'm remembering.
A
I'll
film
never
where
You
two
forget.
are
a
the
film where two
dildo with which we
noted
kill the demons.
yeah.
Oh, jeez. I wonder where you're going with that then.
A
You
film where
are
two
a
noted
dildo.
patrons of the arts get together and talk about a film they supported from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Also, Ben is here because we couldn't do without you, really, Ben.
Oh, that business, by the way, Shameless on Twitter, being like, we've got the first ever fully licensed Deathgasm hoodie at Emma Cownley. And I was like, get away from me. I've already got 2 t-shirts. Don't need a
I've got
fucking
everything.
hoodie
I've
and
got
another
all I need.
Oh my
t-shirt.
God.
The bit
Add-on
of Fright
sales.
Fest adjacent news I had for you all is film that
Hmm.
we saw not this year at Fright Fest, but cast your minds back into the distant past of 2023. And there was a documentary by the name of I Am Monsters featuring notoriously very nice man who plays monsters, Nick Vince. Ben, you interviewed him just after seeing the documentary at Fright Fest, right?
Yep, I sure
Well,
did.
it's now available to pre-order on Blu-ray and hard copies if you would like them. It's getting its physical release from our friends at Dark Rift Films. So that's Stuart Spark, the director behind Book of Monsters and How to Kill Monsters. In the pre-order news, they also did drop a little bit saying that How to Kill Monsters will be getting its physical release very soon too. So whether you've caught these yourself or whether you've heard us bloody banging on about them and you're waiting for an opportunity to catch them yourself, you will get an opportunity to very soon.
And it's just nice to support Nick, isn't it?
It is
Come on, Nick.
such a
We'll
nice
support
fella.
you. I thought
I
what you were going to say is the Fright Fest Halloween confirmation.
thought I'd save
No,
that for you, Ben. Not that I'd
the
forgotten, not at all.
uh, the lineup will be announced on Thursday, October the 3rd. That's played tomorrow. Or if you listen to this episode on release day, today, tickets will go on sale on Saturday, October the 5th. And it's taking place the 1st and the 2nd of November 2024 at Odeon Lux West End in Leicester Square. Yeah. Go and get involved. Anybody planning on attending that? Or are you all fright fested out for the year?
Yeah, I can't really afford any more Fright Fest than the Fright Fest I've already Fright Fested.
Hmm. I see what you mean.
Will
It's
you still
expensive
be
business.
all your life watching America when that happens, Ben?
I will be. I will be in America. Did you just quote Razorlight then?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my love, panic in America. What else have we got? What we've been watching for the last 7 days or longer than that. Emma, you haven't been on the show for a while. Anything horror or horror adjacent you wanted to recommend to us or our audience? Anything that you've seen?
I mean, before we started recording, I told you I watched Trap
Oh
by
yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan. And to be honest, I don't like to have a bad word to say about things. So if I can't say anything nice, I'm not going to say anything at all
You
because
wimp.
usually I can find something redeeming and I'm like, don't yuck someone's yum. There's always going to be something in there. I was baffled by how shit it was. It was bafflingly shit. I couldn't figure out how it had been allowed. It felt
Yeah.
like a 14-year-old boy wrote a self-insert fanfic script about himself being a badass. like, oh, I'm such a criminal and I broke in. And like the ease with which Josh Hartnett breezed around
Yeah.
gathering information and props to conduct his master escape.
Have you got any
He was
sugar?
never
It's just a drink.
challenged at any
No.
point.
Yeah.
Like there was, he just achieved everything he ever wanted.
I also
M
love
Night.
I love his wonderful acting, like when he goes up on the roof and that policeman is like, "Hey, you, what are you doing here?" And he goes into like, he becomes basically old Gil, and he's like, "Oh, jeez, someone got burned," and he's like,
What's a
"Oh,
safe word?
checks out."
I feel like M. Night Shyamalan is a one-on, one-off type of guy. He makes one kind of all right film, and then the next one he goes, you know what? Have a bit of this down you. What did we say about Trap? I can't remember. I think we were just like, it wasn't great,
I
weren't
feel
we?
like it was in the D territory because there are some interesting moments to it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, he's called the butcher and he kills people with carbon monoxide. That's the opposite of a butcher, if anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Call
it
mean,
himself the
is.
gasman. That's another
yeah.
profession he does.
The gas man, British gas, American gas.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
just
was a
it
bit.
wasn't for me. But I did watch The Black Phone the other night. I read the short story when it first
Mm,
came out.
mm.
Um, so I knew I was going to be into it, and I get Fangoria magazine, and they featured it a while ago. So I was like, "Oh, I want to do." So it finally came. I watched it, loved it, thought it was really
I
great.
thought it was great. Did you
I
catch the
liked it
black
so
phone, Ben?
much.
I did catch the black phone. I think when I go to Universal Halloween Horror Nights, the grabber's going to be there.
Is he?
Make sure he doesn't. Oh, well, you're a bit too old for him to grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I'll have a shave and no,
Yeah.
actually, probably still.
If you do have a
I'll still.
shave on the day that you go near him, Ben, make sure you've got a receiver of a phone absolutely chockers with sand. That's his weakness.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a second black phone is in the works, I
Yes, it
believe.
is.
Is
Yeah.
it a
Yeah,
prequel or is he meant to be getting better from what
I
happened to
don't
him?
know. No
What,
idea.
getting strangled?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
got
fine. I just got
better.
strangled. It got better. It's fine.
Turns out you thought I was dead. I was
Got
only
better.
poorly.
Yeah.
I feel like if anyone can survive a strangling, it's him. He's a strangling expert. He loves
Yeah.
strangling people. Um, I've got a prequel that I've seen. Actually, was that it, Emma? Is that what you've seen that you wanted to mention?
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it. Meager, I'm afraid.
Nah, that was fine. Two is more than enough. Um,
Sometimes, like the grabber, you need a rest if you've been through an ordeal.
yeah, you need a rest. You've got to sit at the top of the stairs, just breathing heavily.
Yeah, with a
Because
leather belt clasped in your hand.
Yeah.
yeah, ugh.
Be careful that your brother might have called in for an unexpected visit. Jeez.
Yeah, with your brother, your coked up brother
Oh,
with
isn't it a
his
pain
police
when family
evidence board.
overstay their welcome?
Um, I saw Apartment 7A. It's the Rosemary's Baby prequel. Um, did you know it was a prequel? I thought this was a series for some reason. Then when I saw it drop, I thought let's go and check it out. Directed by Natalie Erica James, starring Julia Garner, who is pretty awesome in everything she's
Mhm.
in. Do you know what? I hate to sound like a broken record here, Andy, and I'm going to sound like a broken record because me and prequels just don't see eye to eye.
Because it
Because
turns out that the evil cult just was.
because again, it's the same film, and I know that the person at the start of Rosemary's Baby who threw herself to her death. This is kind of the story of her and what happened, but it's the same as what happens to Rosemary. Very slightly different, but all of the key components are the same. We don't get any kind of like actual additional information about this cult and the devil that we didn't get in Rosemary's Baby, and it all plays out kind of the same. And the fact that we kind of know that this is the person from the start of Rosemary's Baby who throws herself to her death kind of just ruins it. Where we go, well, we know exactly how this is going to end, then, don't we? Yes,
Yeah.
there
Oh
is some
yeah.
slightly different stuff happening with the devil. I don't think this is a spoiler, but I think we get some better looks. Not that it really matters.
Does the devil fully detail what he's going to do to a future baby's eyes? And I'm going to go, and he says,
A
probably to make
shrug
him a
of
bit
her
triangular so he
eyes.
looks like a bad devil boy.
Do you know what? I mean, it's okay as a film. I feel like if we just said this is a remake of Rosemary's Baby, obviously a lot of people would say don't remake this film. It's great, but it's been a long time, so why not? If they would have just framed this as a remake, I would have been like, yeah, that was pretty good, Because it's a prequel, you're like, well, it kind of doesn't really make much sense. Are we supposed to just believe that this just keeps happening over and over and over again? And the next one, the next prequel, will be the same.
It'd come
Someone,
out, wouldn't it? Because you'd say, "What? The last tenants move out? Oh, killed themselves because we made them have a devil baby." Okay, I'm not
yeah.
going to move in. I'm going to pass.
I don't know. I mean, I just have this back and forth with prequels. I'm like, I want an entirely new story. I completely understand that there still needs to be some of the DNA of that film in order for it to, appeal to certain fans. But it's just the same story playing out. So,
I
you
also
know,
feel that it does. There is a discussion to be had here about why you choose to prequelize things and so on. I don't know if
You're
prequelize is a
secretly
word.
admitting that you've not done a good job setting up the premise.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's what you're doing when you make a
yeah,
prequel.
yeah.
that's
Or
true.
you're one of these people. I feel it's very, if you did make a really well-contained film, there are pieces of background and pieces of information that you can set up, and you do not need to see every single detail. It can just be accepted that we saw that they tried it with someone else and it didn't work and it caused her death and they didn't reach their end goal. So now we're trying again. Do we need to know the ins and outs of that story? Because do you want a Prometheus? Because this is how you get a Prometheus.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. I mean, we've had a couple. The first Omen this year, I was a fan of that. I feel like that did enough to separate itself from the original Omen film. But this, yeah, same story. I feel like we need to just understand how these people came to be Satanists and genuinely actually know the devil. All right, mate, we got another one for you. You coming in? Yeah, I'm on my way. See you in a minute.
I mean, it's quite
Weird.
hard to
How did that happen?
argue against their premise of being Satanists when the devil is someone that you can actually meet.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Yeah,
when,
because then he's proved his existence, and you don't
yeah,
have to have that whole existential crisis of like, is there really,
Yeah.
a
Here he is.
greater
He's coming
meaning?
in.
No, you know.
is this a matter of faith? No,
I
it's a
don't think
matter
this
of
is a
Like he's
knowledge.
here.
I've met him.
I don't
He's
think
at the
this is a
punch bowl
spoiler.
right now, waiting to have sex with Mia Farrow, actually.
Yeah,
He's
He
I've got his
here. If you
number.
want to meet him, I'll introduce you.
Yeah.
he's a bit awkward. He looks that we see this. I don't think this is a spoiler, but we see some shots of the devil in this film, and looks like he's covered in sequins.
Oh,
Fabulous.
Lovely.
Yeah,
you can
lovely.
see why
Wow.
he's so popular.
Hail
He's on the Strictly
Satan.
Grand Final.
Hail Satan. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, I did see Revenge as well, so I thought I'd better go and watch Coralie Fargeat's other film. I feel like I've said it completely differently to how I said her name in the first
I think
instance.
it's Farja. Farja.
Fargeat.
Like the Greek
Okay.
yogurt.
Mm. Isn't
Fargeat.
that
That's gonna
far?
come.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
Oh, come on. This could confuse me anymore. I thought Revenge was okay. Maybe, yeah, maybe a bit heavy-handed in terms of the way because, yeah, I don't know. Still, some very interesting survival techniques, which I think are pretty cool. Um, but apart from that, yeah, I think The Substance is by far her strongest offering so far. Anything from you, Andy?
I've watched a couple. First, I watched. I'll do them in reverse order. Very recently this week, I watched Oddity on Shudder. Wanted to
Mm-hmm.
catch up with that. It was about when, like most twins, they're a bit psychic. One of a pair of twins has been murdered mysteriously, and her sister, who is a blind curiosity shop owner by trade, um, investigates her sister's mysterious death. I quite liked this. It was good.
Yep.
It was a nice central mystery, some good character work. Um, Slight spoilers if you haven't watched this yet. Someone does basically get killed in a method that would be pioneered by Wile E. Coyote.
Oh, they get an anvil on them or a piano. Or
You
they
know
get
No,
they're
exactly what I'm
standing on
talking
the
about.
edge of a cliff
No,
and then the
but it
cliff
is
blows
similar.
up, but you're on the bit that's falling.
Yeah, I
We've all
tell you
been
what,
there.
everyone, if you care about spoilers for Oddity, and I would recommend you watch it because it's pretty decent.
Don't spoil it. Don't
Uh,
spoil it. It's too good.
skip forward 30 seconds. If you're never going to watch it, Emma, actually, before I say it, are you going to watch it? I will
No,
Oh
I'm
God.
spare
gonna
you.
watch it. Did they paint a picture of a road on a wall and
Almost.
they ran
You
into it?
you're getting closer.
No.
He says he's going to phone the blind lady, puts the phone in front of a trapdoor, opens the trapdoor, so when she goes to answer the phone, she will fall down the trapdoor to her doom.
I've ordered,
It's
isn't
a
it?
dick move if ever I heard
Piece of
one.
shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's a lot of dick moves in this film.
And there's a scary woodman,
Yeah. Oh,
but he's a
Woodman.
goodie, so don't worry. Um,
Is it?
sort
Like in
of,
Home Alone. Oh, he's
yeah.
scary. Oh no, he's just an old man.
Oh, I see. He's
Or
just an old
They
man
Home
who's
Alone
fallen.
you.
or
He's
Creepshow
just.
2, the man that stands outside the shop that takes revenge when that
Oh yeah,
lovely
he's a
shopkeeper
woodman, isn't
is a woodman.
he? Yeah.
Sometimes you need a good woodman to help you out.
Yeah, you do.
So I watched that, very enjoyable, had a lot of fun with it. Secondarily, after it came up in conversation in our Wishmaster episode yesterday, we were looking at more wish granting baddies. Um, I got round to checking out 1988's hobgoblins, the little diminutive bastards
Little
that
diminutive bastards.
yeah, what they do is the hobgoblins. I guess they're aliens because they come in a spaceship, but they crashed on
Oh,
a
little ugly
movie.
bastards, aren't they?
They crashed on a movie set. Sorry, like a backlot where they do filming, and the security guard took pity on them and just kept them locked in the vault, like the Animaniacs, I guess. So they are in there like the Animaniacs, and then when anyone goes near them, they don't necessarily grant wishes, but they basically make you live out your greatest fantasy in a way that will ultimately kill you. So,
Oh, well,
one one of the boys has a fantasy that the woman who he phones on like a dirty chat line every day, she becomes his girlfriend and takes him to a makeout point and then yells at him to stay in the car while she tries to push the car off a cliff. And she's like, "Have you left the handbrake on?" It's very fun. It's very funny. It's very stupid. And there is an extended scene before the hobgoblins have had anything to do with it. I would say probably as long as Revenge of the Sith's like final lightsaber battle, where on the front garden of a house, two of our main boys have a fight with garden implements, and every time they strike each other, like the rake versus the hoe, the film soundtrack plays a sting of like if you had a Yamaha keyboard and you went right the way through all the different sounds it could make to sound 99, the gung sound that it makes when they hit each other. I mean, come come for that scene if nothing else.
I'll tell
It
you
is
what.
what is
absolutely
that?
bonkers.
Hobgoblins.
Hobgoblins.
I'm
I
writing
bet
that down.
hobgoblins. Yeah, hobgoblins. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a good film, but will you have an experience watching this? Absolutely, you will.
I love an
Gremlins.
experience. I can't wait.
Gremlins has got a lot to answer for, hasn't it?
Yeah, all
Yeah,
these.
they weren't granting anyone's wishes, were they?
No, no, they weren't. But so many so many copycat little critters exactly. Films that we
And
got in the
those
80s.
other ones that live in the toilet, what are they?
The
Ghoulies.
Ghoulies.
The
Ghoulies. I've
Ghoulies.
I've only seen Ghoulies one or two.
Yeah.
David Carradine in the first one.
Is he?
Um, yeah, and then the second one they're at a fun fair. The third one allegedly they go to college, which I have not seen. Um,
Alle-
Ghoulies
the
go to
third
college.
the third one's called Allegedly to Go to College.
yeah, allegedly they go to college. I did have a quick chance to give it a quick googs. You can't get Hobgoblins in its pure format in on YouTube for free,
You have to
but
take the hash version,
oh
which
no,
is
even better. The Mystery Science Theater 3000 version that has commentary from idiots watching along with it is already on YouTube, so you could watch it in full. But it
Wow.
probably will be slightly cut. That because that was like a daytime TV show. So
Mm.
if you want the true experience and to get your own commentary, then seek yourself out a bit
Only
of
the bloody
Hobgoblins.
hobgoblins, isn't it? Um,
I also love how the Hobgoblin puppets are basically completely static stuffed toys.
oh
what
no,
year?
no articulation of the eyes or the mouth or the limbs.
No, sometimes off camera, someone will have moved the hobgoblins and made a
Oh
noise
yeah.
that like go, but it is just someone moving them like an action figure, and occasionally they'll be thrown at someone and they will like wrestle around
It got a
like
sequel,
Leslie
but
Nielsen.
it got a sequel in 2009.
Well, guess what I'm watching next week, everybody.
It's gonna be hobgoblins too.
They need to
Anything
get the
else?
Kyoto brothers involved, I think, with that one. Or even like Sooty and Sweep, just something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anything else, Andy?
That's next for the Pooniverse, Ben. Evil City and Sweep once they hit public
Oh,
domain.
Jesus Christ.
No, I would.
Rosie and Jim scarier,
Please.
I
if
would.
you want my opinion.
Yeah, I'd
Tots
never.
TV.
Oh yeah,
Oh
because
yeah.
that Tom has got the creepiest voice. Lovely donkey.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very good at his voice. It's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm
And
a
I
Tots.
actually get
What's the next
served
bit?
memes constantly of that because I made the
Look,
mistake of sending one to my sister, and Instagram was like, "Oh, you like this, do you? Keep
another bit of
watching
Tots
these
TV, do
memes."
you?
like Tots TV, do you?
Yeah,
One of them was
yeah,
French, right? French.
yeah. Tilly, yeah,
I want to know their story.
she's
How
in
they
charge of the Sac Magique.
The Sac Magique, yeah. And what's that
Okay.
horrible squirrel thing?
Oh, I liked that little guy
What is he?
because he was thinking what we were all thinking. What the fuck is this lot up to?
Our three kids ended up living together in a house with no
With a
adult
donkey.
supervision, with a donkey
Yeah.
in the
Taking care of
wilderness.
a donkey.
Bag.
Yeah.
In the wilderness. This is
Yeah.
weird.
So just sort of a woodland home. I mean, no way that
Woodland home.
no way that thing is on mains gas and electric. They're gonna have to get an oil delivery as the winter rolls around.
Maybe
like
their
it's-
parent or carers died and left them,
And they're decomposing in the bedroom.
and this is their fever dream as they slowly starve to death.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe we have to
Hopefully.
start. Maybe later before we go tonight, we can talk about some sort of kids' TV spin-off series that we need to work on as a trio. There, I think we've got a rich vein
Oh my
of
god,
Tots TV
Tilly,
content.
Tom, and Tiny. You could
Oh,
be in it.
which one do you want to be? Will I have to exclusively learn to speak French?
Well,
Yeah,
obviously,
go
I
on.
was going to be Tilly, unless you want to do a gender bend
Oh, hang
version.
on.
Let's do a
I'm
gender
wearing
bend.
a green top, and you're wearing red. Ben, have you got any blue on? That means you are Tom, though, unfortunately.
No, I haven't got any blue on, unfortunately.
Oh,
Tom, he's a right square. I don't want to be that one.
Just he's got glasses.
No, he's a knobhead, isn't he? Oh, the rules. Okay, let's move. Let's move on.
After a rich
before we
seam
get
of Bernard's Watch content 2 weeks ago as well.
Tots TV now.
The things I'd
Um,
get up to with Bernard's Watch, let me tell you.
Oh,
We all
Jesus.
thought about it. And the
We all
Queen's
thought about it.
nose.
Oh, the
The
Queen's
The
Queen's
two
nose
of them
like-
combined.
I tell you
Oh,
what,
yeah.
Fuck
Think
shit
of it a
up.
world. That's
if I
like,
was if I was
Infinity
Penny Crayon
Gauntlet.
for a day, you're over.
oh yeah, an infinity gauntlet of children's
You need
TV
the Sac Magique.
objects.
You
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
Bernard's Watch. You need the Queen's Nose 50 pence piece. And William Swift.
Williams, Wish Wellingtons.
You've got a whole
banger, that was.
ensemble that
You
does
basically
something for you. You know?
Absolutely undefeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only horror stuff I've watched, but I feel like nothing compares to the horror of Tom's lovely donkey voice.
Tom's donkey voice. Imagine Tots TV mixed with the substance. Just imagine it for a second. Terrifying, right? Yeah, so we've seen the substance as well, which is a 2024 satirical body horror film, co-produced, written, and directed by Emma
Coralie Fargeat.
Coralie Fargeat. I'm pretty sure. I said
Coralie Fargeat.
that. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
very good. That's the take.
Coralie. No. No. Halfway
This
through.
is
I
why
went,
she's
no.
this is why she's Tilly. Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can
Tilly,
fake
Tom.
it till I make it with the French.
It stars Demi Moore, Margaret, Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. And its plot concerns a fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. Better, faster, stronger. 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes score, 91% audience, 39% critics. Interesting.
39?
Wait, what? No, I feel like that's incorrect.
I need to read why they didn't like it. I need to know now.
Wait, I'm pretty sure that's incorrect. I've definitely not written that down correctly. I remember it was 70 something.
So have you not finished an
That's
8 when
still-
you're writing it down? just the first
71.
time?
71. And then 4.0 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Got some choice reviews for you from Letterboxd. Vasily says, very mindful, very Demi Moore. You like that? As someone who's perpetually online, just like me, Emma.
That's a chronically online person right there.
Chronically, that's what I meant. Um, David Delrich says, watching the last 30 minutes of this movie with a packed audience is truly one of life's greatest pleasures. 4.5 stars. Vasily gave it 4.5 stars as well. Jill says, like watching Cronenberg and Lynch bang in an American Apparel fitting room. 4.5 stars.
Love
Ooh.
that.
And Ivy Volk says hagsploitation for the adrenochrome era, completely perfect, shocking, and fearless filmmaking. 5 stars. Jesus.
5 stars.
Exploitation, though.
Hagsploitation. There are a lot of positive reviews. Of course, there were some negative ones, but I thought the positive ones were far more interesting. There we go. Now, we've set the scene quite nicely with everything we discussed about the substance so far. But is it anyone's film of the year so far? Jumping straight in there.
I kind of feel like so far, like I
Yeah.
was really, really impressed with it.
Yeah, I feel the
I
same.
haven't committed to numbering yet, Ben, but I'm gonna say early. It's a strong contender. Strong contender. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I just feel like it was really clever, like absolutely gross out, gasp inducing. And even though like on the surface it can feel quite heavy-handed, it can feel like it's pummeling you in the face with these themes. I actually think it is quite sort of measured and thoughtful.
It fits
in
the
the
tone
way.
nicely. If it wasn't so excessive in every single facet of what it's doing, it would feel heavy-handed. But I think because everything is so dialed up, the colors, the sets, the gore, everything is so, 11. Everything's at 11. I think the themes have to match it stylistically,
I think
right?
there are quiet moments between those sort of really huge technicolor, um, incredibly loud set pieces and sequences. There are sort of these quiet moments, and I think that kind of represents the character, the transition the character has from sort of one persona to another as well.
You know, I really identify with in this movie.
Fred.
No, not him at all. That fellow on the phone. Yeah.
All
What?
right. Oh, you fucked it, have you?
Stays paused until she says it's me. Says what her name is. No response. Number 503. All right. What? Yeah, it's in your box. Bye. Straight away.
Yeah, customer service, straight to the point.
He's normalized not saying goodbye before you hang up. None of this. Bye. 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 Bye.
Love
Probably
you. Don't do this with the substance. Turns out I've only gone and done that with the substance. Well, I don't know what you want from me. Like, I didn't.
remember you're the same person. All right. See ya.
I
Yeah.
was wondering, are they actually, so it's not one consciousness moving between, the consciousness is split, so they are independent consciousnesses, right? Because they're waking up to discover things, so they're obviously not the same
They don't remember
because
what
they've
the other
got
has
different
done.
goals and objectives as well and different personalities, right?
Yeah.
Is
But
it
they
like
are the same.
duplication of that person, but she is warped by her experiences and the way she's perceived by the world,
Maybe.
I think there's
potentially.
maybe there's a little bit of shared. They seem to like have sort of scattered dreams about what the other, sort of like metaphorically might indicate what the other has been up to.
Mm.
But they definitely have a slightly separate consciousness. But as from a physical point of view, they are the same living entity,
But
right?
also, when Sue first wakes up, she knows what to do. She knows where the kit is and she knows how
Yeah.
to like plug her in and everything. So she has the same knowledge
So it must be a
that Elizabeth
duplication then.
has.
Similar
Not necessarily
to
the same personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the same personality, she is the same person to start with. Sue, when she wakes up, she is still Elizabeth Sparkle. But her personality begins to change, begins to warp by the way she's perceived, by the way she's communicated with. It's kind of almost like a drug where she's like, "Oh my God, this is how I used to be spoken to. This is how the world used to perceive me, as
Yeah.
beautiful as this and that." So she starts to become warped by that, and in such almost like that particular persona starts to forget about the older Elizabeth Sparkle,
Yeah.
probably through choice as well. Probably goes, actually, you know what? I love being this
Like
new person.
embarrassed about that
Yeah.
part of
I
herself.
guess
Like
she like
she's humiliated by what Elizabeth gets up to when she's
Yeah.
asleep. She's like, she's disgusting. She watches it's everything she doesn't ever want to think of herself as being. It's like when people are that they don't want to be old because that's what they think being old is.
Mm.
And they're like, no, like I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm not disgusting
Mm.
and old.
yeah.
Yeah. Or when people say things like you're turning into, a parent or someone older or something like that, and you absolutely scoff at that. Oh, well, no, I'll never be like that. Absolutely not.
I think it's the way you
It's
can trigger anyone, right? Like, as very, very, even if like you're saying it's someone who loves their parents dearly, and it's like, nobody turn you into your dad, you'd be raging. You'd be like, fucking, no, I'm not. How dare you?
you what? Absolutely not.
That's
Uh,
that's what he'd say, Ben.
that's exactly what he'd say. So in terms of the cast, we've got Demi Moore as Elizabeth Sparkle. Margaret Qualley is just Sue. She's got no surname. Maybe again, this is a hint towards her not being exactly the same person. Doesn't
I
even
guess she
call herself
invents Sue as a
Sue.
persona, right? Like
Yeah,
in the
I
moment.
think all of the like stuff, all of the like Hollywood slash TV, it's in a very weird kind of like made up world, isn't it? Where like nothing's quite real. Everything feels really manufactured. Everything's like the show. Coming soon. New the show. Oh, we got a New Year's Eve show. Do what? Just shaking your ass at the camera. Like, what is the show? What's the
But also, like, isn't it though? She doesn't even, they're not concerned with any of the
Yeah.
details. It's just how
Yeah.
she looks, right? That her
Mhm.
last name's not even relevant. And
No one
like
asks.
when she's clearly in distress, like towards the last end of the film, like her teeth are falling out, her nails are falling out. She's like clearly crying, heavy breathing in distress. Nobody notices. And like when she comes back in, nobody notices. Like they just don't give a shit.
Hmm. It is
Like
just to do with
that
the way
really
she
stuck
looks and
out to me.
Yeah, it's really, and it gets like more dreamlike and nightmarish as we get towards that point. But it is notable that no one pays attention to those things once they've established the fact that, are you here? Are you ready? Are you in your dress? Yeah, fine. On you go. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, they look past what problems she might be
Because they
having.
don't want any of that. They just want the nice kind of pretty girls should smile, you know. We don't
Smile
want to
and
No.
think
nod.
that there might be more going on back there. We don't want that. We just want, you know.
Stylistically, when we look at this film, there was elements of it that I sort of got the same sort of feeling as the as it follows, in where the time period is never explicitly given, because
Hmm.
the way they have an aerobics show on in the morning strikes you in the very fact that it is network television is very 80s and 90s coded, but they have modern mobile phones. The motorbike I think is a modern thing, but it's never really grounded
It's just
in a
something like that
particular time period. It's
out
just
of time.
it's just now-ish constantly.
Hmm. Out of time, mega sanitized, mega Hollywood, kind of like not really focusing on the detail of anything, kind of just focusing on. That's why I kind of like everything, all of the packaging that comes with the substance is so
It was very
simple
well
and
branded.
modern, very well
Mm.
branded, exactly. But everything was just like big, big text, um, big lovely font.
I bet they spent a
Stick
fortune
this
on that
there, do
sound.
that.
The sound that
Yeah,
happens, the boom that they have when you put a USB in.
yeah. Just very simple. Like the details aren't important. It's kind of like just inject this into yourself. What is this stuff? Well,
Yeah.
who
But
cares?
like I think that if this was real, women would do it, hands down.
Mm.
Such is
Yeah.
the desperation for the pursuit of perfection. And what this film, like makes you so painfully aware of that even Sue, who is the most perfect, doesn't feel perfect enough, and in the end does something really awful to herself. She turns herself into a monstrosity in the pursuit of perfection. Like even she can't get there.
Yeah. And even before that ultimately happens, she is plagued by such nightmares of. I don't think it's ever truly established with the thing in the chicken bone if anyone actually did see anything or whether it was something that she was just so paranoid about
Yeah.
that there was a worry that I'm going to lose this that I achieve and people are going to look at me differently. And she runs out of that room when they go, oh, let's watch that tape back because she is convinced they're going to see like a
A
lump or
blemished
something
arse
out of
cheek.
place. Yeah. I
A
mean, as far as
blemished.
blemishes go, if you really did have a chicken bone stuck in your bum,
That would
you
be
would hope
something to
that
see.
someone would say, let's
Do we
take a
feel
pause and get you to the get you down the A&E. But
do
she's
we
not
feel
worried about
like
that. She's worried about the perception.
once Elizabeth Sparkle begins to like um become sort of when her finger goes all horrible, is that like a representation of like, say if this as one person, somebody is trying to strive for these beauty standards, and Demi Moore is kind of like represents the health of that particular person. It doesn't matter how detrimental the things you're doing are to your health, as long as that facade there of Margaret Qualley is still there. It doesn't really matter what's going on behind the scenes. It doesn't really matter what's going on in that dark room, which you can just close off. That's kind of what I got from that. I don't know if anybody else agrees.
Mm. But I think also like she's got that massive picture of herself in her house and she's on billboards. She will have been retouched in those photos. So when she's even looking at herself like that, that is a
Mm.
version of herself that she has never been and will never be. And imagine holding yourself to that standard as well. And then the fucking billboard of Sue in her face,
Yeah.
inescapable, an even better version of herself that she cannot get away from.
Mhm.
You would just
Yeah.
never be able to
It's
live
The
up to it, would
disdain, the
you?
disdain she has for Sue when Sue's like on TV as well. Like, that's you. No, no,
yeah,
no. That's literally someone else. The disconnect between these two personas, like almost immediately, is kind of fascinating.
and I think this is the where the true sadness of the film really really comes in, like that she cannot grasp that the simple message of the thing, and obviously it's a extreme situation. It isn't what you could tag to reality in this sense, in a very physical sense, but she cannot comprehend that they are one and the same. She cannot be happy for one element of her life, and instead it just magnifies the things that she is unhappy with. And to go back to your point, Ben, about how her body gets withered, when she overuses and overstays the time in the Sue body. Um, for me, the thing I took away from it on that one is that Elizabeth Sparkle, as she is, when we see her moving around and living in the world, that is herself. That is the core of who she is as a person. And as she becomes less and less happy with that and gives more and more energy into what she wants to become, she cannot exist without Elizabeth Sparkle as she is at her very heart of it. And she is withered away and consumed by all of these things that she wants to be in a way that will ultimately destroy her.
I mean, you
Um,
see that very much so at the end, though, isn't it? Because she's completely wasted away on the brink of death, has only been brought back because Sue had no other choice. And when she tries to terminate her, and then she's getting second thoughts and she's looking at those flowers, like, you're going to be great. And then she's like, it's our big night. Like, no, come on. And she's like, trying to bring her back. And she's like, no, it's our big night. Like, we're going to be great. She still like, oh,
so
heartbreaking.
sad. It's
It's
so
so
sad.
sad. Like when she's just like, even at the very end, when like you are a husk of a woman, what vitality you had is now completely gone. Next time you go under, she probably will kill you. but
Mm.
you're like, it's our big night. Like, come on. She needs that glory. She needs it for Sue because she needs it for herself. And she's just poured so much into Sue, literally, that she can't even break that toxic connection because she needs even just that little bit.
And thematically as well, as much as I feel like when they first go into the sharing split, there is a part of you that wants to, much like with any program or film that ends in some kind of trauma or disaster, there is a bit of you that goes, okay, what if this was just fine? What if it's just a
Yeah.
story about how everything was fine and this wonderful thing, and you were able to establish a balance and have a wonderful life, and it's never going to be like that. And that, I think, is the power of the message, and this is what we can relate to the real world, in that in a world where you can make yourself look different, you can extend your grip on youth, you can be incredibly wealthy and successful and have all of these wonderful things, but fundamentally, regardless of what you have, regardless of what success you have, regardless of what you can afford to spend on medical interventions and so on, there are unescapable facts of life, which, as sad as it might be, you cannot escape and you cannot cheat this. You can't have a wonderful substance which just says you're functionally immortal now. Like, these
Mm.
are
Because your hunger
bitter
will always
truths for
drive
all
you
of
to
us.
do,
Yeah.
yeah. I think also, oh, what was I going to say? I had a really incredible point to make about just on that. Yeah. So the fact that Elizabeth Sparkle has spent so much of her career being diminished down to her looks and to how valuable she is based on her looks, when she has no job, she's at a complete loose end. She's got no friends, she's got no hobbies, she's not spent time pouring into herself. And like, so now that she's in kind of this twilight phase of life, rather than having all these enriching hobbies and relationships that she's now able to give herself over to, now that people aren't looking at her as a thing, or that she's not giving everything to her career, she doesn't have anything. So all she does is waste her 7 days every time in front of the TV and just
Yeah.
eating. And like, it's easy to see how you can fall into that pattern when you haven't been encouraged to be more than what you look like, or where you haven't done the work to kind of go through unpacking how you feel about yourself, the person, because our visage is always changing. We are always
Mhm.
changing every day. You can't hang your sense of self-worth on that because it's going to be different. You
Yeah.
know, you have to like come for like, not to get fucking deep on this podcast, but you know, if she had if she had been in a career where she was encouraged to kind of foster herself as a person rather than herself as an icon,
Mm.
Yeah,
imagine
then
how
maybe
different that could be. She wouldn't have been so desperate. She probably would
she wouldn't
never
have
have
been
done
a
that.
she wouldn't have been a valid customer for the
Yeah, she wouldn't have been
substance,
a
I'd
suitable
imagine.
candidate.
Yeah, and that's the
No.
thing as well. And I think that's the deep sadness of the film. That she meets this character. She meets this Fred that she just incidentally bumps into someone that she went to school with outside the hospital after she's had an accident, and the fact that this is the closest thing throughout this film that she has to any type of connection, someone who she hasn't seen since high school. So someone who you probably haven't seen for what, 35 years at this point, um, is the closest thing you can grip onto. She doesn't have any friends outside what she was, what her job was, and then because of the nature
Because
of
her
that
job's
work,
her
yeah,
identity. When
they've
she
moved
loses it,
away.
she's no one.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
she is.
it's kind of even sadder for Fred because he's just an easy route to more self-esteem. She's
Mhm.
not interested in reconnecting with Fred. She wants someone to tell her that she's still the most beautiful girl and he
Mm.
still idolizes her. And that's what she was wanting, like a little ego boost, because her whole career, that's what that is, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what her whole thing has been. So poor Fred was just a means to an end.
Yeah, and you're right.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's still that same value that she's hungry for, that she wants someone to appreciate her for. I wonder, in a different world and a different, does she have a happier ending if she runs into someone who was just genuinely going to be a friend, or will she not have that interest? Like, if she ran into a female friend from school and said, "Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if we caught up?"
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh,
The
Or
She
someone
probably
wanted.
off.
wouldn't have exploded over a
Yeah.
live studio audience.
Or even if it was just Fred and said, "Oh, you know what? I'm married. Like, I'd love you to meet my family. I always tell them that we went to
Yeah.
school together. Um, come round for dinner, like at our house as a family, like, and have that different value.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have saved Elizabeth Sparkle if she was just genuinely loved for
I think if we were in the
who she
diegetic
was.
universe, we would
Yeah,
have done something about it.
we'd have had her
Oh
on,
yeah, we'd
Elizabeth
have had her on.
Sparkle.
Come and talk about a horror film. I never really was in a horror film. That's all right. Don't worry
Tell
about it.
me, tell me how horrible Dennis
Well,
Quaid is.
she
She is
she won
horrible.
her star on the Boulevard for acting, right? She's an Oscar winner, so
Yeah,
That's right.
imagine we get an
So
Oscar winner on, Ben.
that is where we start. And imagine we get an Oscar winner on. Well, something to aim for. No offense, Emma. Um, so Elizabeth Sparkle, an Academy Award-winning actress and host of an aerobics TV show. That's where we start. She is doing a lovely bit of aerobics, and she gets fired from the show on her 50th birthday. Well, fired or kind of just told it's the end of the road.
It happens rapidly, right? Because she has a good day, and it's just that the women's toilet is out of order, so she has to go into the men's, and then before anything officially happens, she hears, I guess, the program director or certainly the producer of the show, played by
Mm.
Dennis Quaid, with absolute aplomb. If his job in this film is to be repugnant, then he manages it on every single
Every
level.
level, yeah.
Like,
He's kind
he
of like
comes in and
garish in the way he dresses, garish in his attitude, garish in the way he eats.
yeah,
Just a yeah,
and
just
he's
garish in
and
general.
he has the self-assured confidence that only a wealthy white man in a position of power can ever have. Like, Dennis Quaid has never doubted himself for a second in this film. He is someone who has always approached these things with incredible confidence because he hasn't had the same struggles, and people aren't judging him on how unappealing he is when he because basically he does what he wants and he is free from
Mm.
those worries and that judgment. And he openly is on the phone. He's there. He's having a wee at the urinal with someone like in the crook of his neck on his phone, going, "Yeah, Saka. I don't care how long." And he also makes a point of saying, "I don't care what we have promised her. She's
Yeah.
done." Like, there is no loyalty, there is no fondness, there is nothing beyond the numbers of what his program is going to do and his personal success that he can wring out of everything that she has brought to this program. I feel a bit obliged to say fuck billionaires at this point, so I'll just leave that there. Um, yeah, like, he is ready to get rid of her, and then we sort of rattle through the back end of this conversation he's having with her at a restaurant while eating his prawns, where we can assume that he has given her the news that they're getting rid of her and is trying half-heartedly he's trying to stumble across to explaining to her, and he talks about not renewing and so on, and basically he's stumbling around, maybe meant he doesn't want to openly say you're past it or you're too old, but he's
Mm.
kind of he just rattles through, and he
And then
gives
he
maybe
leaves the conversation, doesn't he,
yeah,
in favor of
Yeah.
someone else.
yeah, he sees a guy that he
Exactly.
knows. He's like, "Oh, I'm out of here. I've done my bit."
Um, Elizabeth's driving home. She sees like a poster of her face like being removed, like obviously a very physical representation of exactly what has just happened to her, and she crashes. Well, she doesn't crash. Someone crashes into her, don't they?
She runs a
Um,
red light, I think, doesn't
She
she? And
gets
she
T-boned. Is that what
she
it's
gets
called?
yeah, she gets
T-barred.
absolutely
She
T-boned,
gets
T-boned.
T-boned the fuck out
She
of.
sounds
gets
like a wrestling
T-boned.
finisher, getting T-boned
She's only gonna be T-boned. She's
right
broken
through
in
the Spanish
half.
announcement table.
Is that even what it's called? Have I just pulled that out
Yeah,
my
no,
T-bone,
ass? Is
no,
it
that
T-boned is right,
T-boned?
I think.
getting
T-boned
T-boned.
is right, yeah. But and then when she wakes up, luckily she's okay. Cuts and bruises, nothing major. And then a young male nurse
As a squeeze of her
who's
spine.
has a squeeze of her spine and says, "You're a I kind of don't get this because he goes, "Oh, you'd be a perfect candidate," but like, I don't know. Like, I don't get at any point that he works for that company. So how would he know? I guess it's just you've got
Well, he's
a
one of them, isn't
accessible
he?
spine. I know he's one of them, but still, it was a bit weird that he did that.
Well, I
Um,
guess they've probably got a referral program. Otherwise, how are they
Yeah,
making their
I bet
money?
he gets one whole box for free.
what's her spine like? That's great. It's great. It's perfect. Lovely spine.
She
And her
needs to have a good
self-esteem is
spine.
rock bottom, mate. She was
Yeah,
crying at the doctor's in a
yeah,
paper gown on her
yeah.
50th
On
birthday.
her birthday,
On her
worst
birthday.
birthday
Yeah,
ever.
doesn't he say, I hope your birthday gets better? they
Yeah,
say
no,
something like that.
the fucking doctor's like, oh, my
Oh, when
wife
is your
really
birthday?
loves you, as she's there weeping and visibly shaken.
Can I get a selfie? Doesn't say that. But this nurse gives her a flash drive, basically, that says,
Well, he
you'd be a
sneaks it
perfect
into a
candidate
pocket,
for
doesn't
this
he?
thing.
He basically
Sneaks it
Oh
goes,
into her
yeah, in the
pocket.
yellow coat pocket.
"Oh, are you you'd be a perfect candidate. Perfect candidate for what? Nothing. Bye." And then he's
Bye.
off. He
Yeah,
goes,
See
a
you later.
swirl of his cape and he's
yeah.
off.
He's like, "Have a look at Chekhov's birthmark. This will come back later. See ya." Out, and he's out the door.
Oh yeah, the birthmark. Yeah,
Yeah.
the check.
But
Yeah.
he's a very handsome, blue-eyed healthcare assistant.
Striking.
Striking.
Mm,
Very
yeah.
very Twilight vampire-y, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a bit too much
He's
color in
nearly
his skin for
glittering.
that.
Um, so Elizabeth takes it home, puts the flash drive in her TV, and watches this lovely little promo video for the substance, which
It's a
is
good job the codecs are working in the thing. Can you imagine that not supported format? You just get no customers.
sorry. Um, so promoting the substance, which is a serum that creates a younger, more beautiful, more perfect version of the user. All you got to do is phone this number and place your order, and next thing you know, you'll have it. Yeah, in terms of marketing, this is great because it's kind of like you're getting all the detail, but also none of the detail about what this
That's
thing
what the
is.
best brands do. Look at car adverts.
Yeah,
They're saying a lot of words, but none
yeah.
of those words have anything to do
It's more
with
like
the car.
aftershave is
Oh
that
yeah.
the Johnny Depp one does mine in the most, where I'm
Oh,
just
that
like
sausage one.
sausage, yeah.
So
Dior
Sarge.
sausage. It's like
Yeah.
him in the desert with wolves playing guitar. What's it plugged into? It's like Slash in the November Rain video all over again. What's it plugged into? And
Or
then
Adam Driver running and
smell like
turning
this.
into a horse.
Oh,
I was actually kind of into
does
that, I'm
that
not gonna lie.
happen?
Yeah,
He's
Burberry.
kind of
Yeah.
horse-like anyway, right? He's quite equine in his.
Yeah, I guess.
He's like an anamorph halfway through the human and horse
Yeah, but I'd
transition.
tap that for sure.
Would you
I
tap
like an
that?
unusual man.
Yeah. Would you tap that when he was Kylo Ren and he had like
When he was
trousers up to
Kylo
his nipples?
Ren.
Trousers
And
up
when,
to his
yeah,
nipples.
yeah, yeah.
Big
I would.
wide Kylo Ren.
I'm so angry all the time. Ah.
He's got really big feelings, all right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Really big ones.
The biggest,
Feelings.
massive, massive, hanging,
Low
full
hanging,
feelings,
That's
distended feelings.
that's why when he became
engorged
when he
feelings.
became a baddie and became a Darth, it was like, who's the angriest person I know? Well, Ren from Ren and Stimpy, of course. That's what he was named
Feeling.
That's
after.
how he
That's
picked the
true.
name.
So Elizabeth orders this substance. You have to go to
Or
this
she doesn't at
horrible.
first. First she goes, fucking this nonsense in the bin.
Not for me.
And then she goes out to a bar and basically,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
sad.
I hated it. And
It's
she had
so
all of her
sad.
martinis and she got up dressed all nice to go out for a drink for her birthday on her own, watching a couple further down the bar, and then she just comes home and throws up. Oh,
Chunders.
I'd show her a good night out. We'd go on a horror walk down
Yeah.
down in London. They do the Jack the Ripper walk. We go and do that, and then we go and have some gin
That'd be a lovely birthday,
and
wouldn't
play
it?
maybe play bananagrams.
Oh, tell you
What's
what,
Yeah.
for
that?
my next birthday, don't wait till I'm 50. That sounds like a great night out.
Oh,
Yeah, why not?
bananagrams. I know what you mean. It's in that little bag, isn't it? Little
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
banana
shaped
bag.
like a banana.
shaped like a
Yeah. I was a bit
banana.
like, what's that? No, but I know. I
Yeah,
know.
but we'd play like naughty bananagrams or that one where you do like middle class white people baby names, bananagrams.
Oh,
Okay, okay. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with that, but it sounds interesting.
yeah. And then have you got the party version of Bananagrams, Emma, where you like there's like little forfeit ones in there that's like you've got to spell every word that you've got, or you're not allowed to use your index fingers. And I was like, this is getting harder.
And then now spell a word without the sight.
Yeah.
Just guess.
Close your
It
eyes
has
and
to be
still win an
accurate.
anagram somehow.
Yeah.
Close one eye. Um, yeah, like she has like a terrible night out on a birthday. I mean, I mean, you can speak to what the female experience is like, but I imagine the most unrealistic part of this film is that even as a woman who has hit 50, no one, no men come and harass her when she's sat alone at a bar. I feel like it would probably still happen. But
Yeah, for sure. But also, if you were a man alone at a bar, well dressed, it's because you wanted to be there on your own. If you're a woman well
Mm.
dressed at a bar on your own, it's because you got stood up or nobody wants you. It's never because you wanted to be. That's the assumption.
Mm.
And that just makes
it
me
makes it
so
even sadder.
angry. Yeah.
And then we basically go and see her, the worst end to any night out. She hasn't made herself a Monster Munch sandwich and had a lovely time in the kitchen. No, she's
Monster
vomiting.
Munch sandwich.
Yeah. Have you ever
Jesus.
tried oat
Pickled
cuisine
onion
then?
ones
Yeah, pickled onion Monster Munch sandwich, a bit of white bread, yum yum yum.
No,
with
no, no, no.
margarine.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I
I
tell
could
you
be
what though,
convinced.
if you want some real fusion dining and you haven't got any white bread, whack that Monster Munch in a wrap, why don't you? Mm-mm-mm.
Mm.
That
Flaming
sounds
hot Monster
horrible.
Munch in a wrap,
Th-
yum.
Wasn't
Oh,
there like
flaming hot,
a
yeah.
Monster Munch salad cream that came out recently? It made me chunder.
It has true real life horrors. But the horrors that Elizabeth is facing is that she's chucking up in the toilet, not a friend to hold her hair. Awful.
No.
If
Yeah.
she was doing that in the
Awful.
girls' toilets at any club, mate, everyone would be round. And
Yeah.
they'd all be
Everyone
telling her what the
rally
problem is in
round.
her life and offering solutions, because that's the magic of the girls' toilets in any bar.
And she's just in her big, lonely house with an enormous portrait of herself at how she perceives herself at her prime,
Hmm.
um, almost lording over her now. Um, and she goes back and drunkenly phones the number and places an order. We don't see her exchange bank details, but I assume it's just for PII reasons. It's not because it's free. She must be paying for it.
Hmm. And she goes to like this weird kind of storage unit type thing with a sort of broken shutter
And
that she's got like scooched down underneath.
she seems really conspicuous, like she might be busted at any time, or she doesn't really believe that she's going there, right? She's looking around, she's dressed as inconspicuously as it's possible to be. Big yellow coat, big
I
massive
mean, but
hat.
you would think it was all a con, wouldn't you? You'd be like, is there someone waiting around this corner with a fucking rohypnol in a cloth waiting
Oh,
to
jeez.
traffic me?
You went
Jesus.
to a darker place. My
No,
first instinct was
as a chick in any situation, any alley based situation or situation where you're going somewhere on your own and nobody knows that you're there,
Hmm.
instant danger.
yeah. Whereas for me, my first instinct was it's Beadle, isn't it? Fucking Jeremy, I'm
Where's
gonna be
Ashton
raging.
Kutcher?
Yeah.
Like,
If you've slightly tricked me so I look embarrassed, I tell you, I'm gonna say something to make your show unbroadcastable, mate.
Oh, aggressive. So yeah, she
No, no, it's on in the daytime. It's light entertainment. Just say shit.
yeah, that's
Fine.
true.
can you say
Um
shit before watershed?
No, you can't. That's how Mel and Sue stopped it. That's how Mel and Sue stepped in when people cry on Bake Off, Emma. When people have a cry, they used to do a bit of swearing so they couldn't use it. Bless their hearts, Mel and Sue. They're the true friends. Mel and Sue would have been friends with with,
yeah.
with Elizabeth Sparkle.
Um okay. So in terms of what the substance is, it's a lovely vial of bright green, a luminous green liquid. You've got all this complicated stuff that comes with it. You know, when you just open up an IKEA bit of furniture and it's got all these instructions, you're like,
It's
no,
like
I
you
don't
bought
need
a Wonder
this.
Tool from
I
JML.
don't I don't
And
need this.
then
Yeah,
there's
it's
so
like
many
do
attachments.
so basically you've got like this activator serum that you use once. Then after that, you've got this like stabilizer stuff which you have to use
Every
um
day.
every day. It's basically like you we'll explain how that works in a second. And there's also this like creamy muck muck food that you have to like leave. Well, again, we'll explain how that works. So she injects herself,
Lovely,
and
lovely sachet of pate to just get your clone through for the
It looked
week.
like Yakult, didn't it?
Yeah, have a
Yeah, but like
Yakult daily.
thicker than it needed to be in terms of
Yeah.
Yakult.
So
The yogurt
tuna
Lovely,
flavored
version.
Yakult.
the
Frube.
yogurt version. A lovely frube, a lovely delicious frube that's being slowly pushed into you. And as soon as it runs out, the hungry bitch just starts going,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a little
The
bit
sec
more,
the
just a
second you're
little
out
bit more.
your Capri Sun in it, you're like you basically immediately get
I'm
Palpatine. The
gasping for it.
second you're out of it, you're like,
Can you imagine what was going on in there when well, we'll get into it, when she was left in there for so long? Horrible. Okay, so basically injects the activator into herself, and what happens is she, well, I mean, what happens initially?
I
Does she
mean,
like look at her?
bold as an acting choice as well. Like, I think you could have stepped back from this film and you could have made it less horrific, and you would have made both the actors or the character feel less vulnerable. Could have whacked a dressing gown on for this, but the very fact that we have this scene before she makes the decision to finally inject herself, standing absolutely naked in front of this mirror, really taking herself
Mm,
in and how she perceives herself now versus what she wants to be, and then makes this choice. And you just get, I think the timing of this is perfect, like precision timed, that you have to wait just long enough for you to see that moment of doubt in her. And
mm,
Demi Moore phenomenally performing this. You see in completely unspoken, not a word of dialogue, but you get to see that cross her face, like, have I been ripped off? Is this nothing? So what? What's meant to happen right now? And then she passes out, and we get the first particularly horrific scene of her back splitting open and this
mm.
clone being birthed almost from her
I mean,
entire
I
body.
don't know exactly what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. I know I'd seen the image where like someone's back looked like it's sewn up after a, something had. But yeah, it's body horror is the best. It's Alien. It's just The Thing. It's just like loads of horrible, creepy body horror stuff, but shaped in a way which is like, no, this is just a beauty procedure. That's all it is. Don't worry about it.
Also,
I've
like
actually,
the way that they made it look like it hurt,
oh yeah,
like
agony.
Mhm.
also like you can see her like tensing, but she can't move, and her eyes are just like filled with tears and just wild. And then you get that cut scene of all of the lights rushing past, and like you almost get a sense of how like incredibly painful it is, but she can't move. Oh my God, nightmare.
Mm.
And we are given the visual here. The initial thing we see is within her eye, like her iris and her pupil splitting and having two in there with it. But and then if you can extrapolate that and imagine that doubling and that multiplication is happening on a cellular level across your entire body. We visually see that in your eye, but
I
every individual fiber of your being
It's
is doing
ripping
that.
in two.
I can't work out the logistics of this. To be honest, I'm just like, what
You
the
have to
fuck?
suspend your
Dead.
disbelief for this one, I think.
A
Yeah.
tiny little Margaret Qualley should have come out, just like a tiny little, maybe
A
played
lot
by
like a baby Voldemort.
like a
Yeah.
baby or a baby Wishmaster, like last week, Andy.
A little baby Wishmaster
Vern
popping
Troyer
out.
playing a Wishmaster. That's actually true. Maybe Vern Troyer. Oh, he's dead. Sorry. Um, playing Margaret Qualley. I don't know.
Also, when to perceive at any point that Demi Moore's idealized version of herself is a heavily prosthetically made up Vern Troyer.
I mean, it's a dream. We've all had it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, essentially a big slippery KY jelly covered Margaret Qualley emerges from d- all the things you kind of need to be good at for this to happen as well. Stitches, sewing
Yeah, well,
up.
she wasn't very good at that though. As somebody who's had first aid training, the
Oh,
tightness of those stitches would
not tight
rip,
enough.
they'd rip out if she tried to bend forward.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I
luckily she
was
didn't.
looking at that and I was
Luckily,
like, that's not how you do a baseball stitch.
I guess she has only just been
yeah,
born,
man.
though.
Some of us have sewn up bodies before, friend, and that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so the stabilizer essentially is something that she must now take out of the spine of Elizabeth and inject into herself, which is, yeah, there's only a certain amount of it as well. Don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Don't get greedy.
Yeah,
Um,
Elizabeth has to go down for 7 days to regenerate her spinal fluid so
that's
that
right.
Sue can take it out and inject it every day for 7 days.
And
Keep
Sue's
the
just going to
game.
leave Elizabeth there, naked and cold, on the bathroom floor with a rolled up towel as a
The
pillow.
thing that got
No,
me
she doesn't
here,
give her a pillow at first. She gives her a pillow the second go round.
That's right,
She
yeah.
like tucks it and moves her hair, and I was
Can you
like, oh,
imagine how
it's
you'd
like
feel like waking
quite
up the second
tender.
time? You'd be like, "Oh Jesus Christ! I
Yeah,
felt like I
really
slept on a
fucking
bathroom floor."
cold.
yeah, I
It's
think the thing
horrible.
that got me as well is that we've seen in an earlier scene. I needed this to be resolved, people. Elizabeth Sparkle has a cleaner.
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
where
see,
was she when she was eating chicken and making a mess?
didn't care.
she must have said actually I've
Yeah, she can't have her coming into the room when there's a
No.
naked Margaret
yeah,
Qualley on a bathroom floor.
you can't be saying yeah, you can't be saying like yeah,
But like,
don't
if
do
there's
the bathroom
naked
this
Margaret
week.
Qualley on my bathroom floor, nobody worry. She's happy. She chose to be there.
Look,
She chose to be there. She has
she's
It
got
got
the
a
was
gecko
consent.
in.
consensual.
Consensual freezing on the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
Um, but then it just shows like what disregard she has for herself, I guess, that even when she's in this new form, she's like, I actually don't really care about that particular version of myself. Don't care if you're cold and naked and afraid on the bathroom floor. Just stay there.
Is that
Well,
Stay
the
then,
there.
lyrics? Were they the lyrics to "When I Needed a Neighbor"? Were you there? Were you there, Ben?
I thought you were going to say Shaggy.
I thought you were going to say Natalie Imbruglia.
Oh,
When she's
lot,
torn,
lots
lying
of
Told
naked
the
on the
different.
naked
floor.
on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weaving
Wow,
ahead
so
over the
many directions
shower.
to go in,
So many
you know?
directions. So
But
basically,
no,
Sue.
Sue's straight out there. She's doing the splits on the, I mean, and the palatial views over the city. Big,
Oh yeah,
lots of light in that apartment. You know, Elizabeth's done well for herself. She's been successful. Um,
absolutely.
she's
And she,
doing the split. She's enjoying her new body and it being everything she wants it to be.
she goes back to basically the same people that Elizabeth was working for, and basically becomes her replacement instantaneously. Um, are they having auditions at one point? Have I imagined that?
Yeah, when she first arrives, the show's producers, a couple of guys, are being rude about someone that's just auditioned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And she walks in, and they pretty much go, "Yes, star,"
Yeah, they
immediately.
could not be any more explicit if they had like turned to each other and gone like, "Whoa!" Like, yeah.
Bloody
Bauga.
hell!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If they turned into cartoon wolves and their tongues had like
Yeah.
rolled out and they'd like banged their feet and smacked the table and then their eyes had turned into dollar signs and they did big whistles and all those
Mm,
things, it could not have been more obvious.
yeah. And obviously, initially, Sue is very good at following the rules of the substance, um, switching every 7 days as she's supposed to, despite the fact that when she's Elizabeth, she is essentially miserable, but still
Able to negotiate a
adhering to
good
the.
working schedule straight away though when they
Oh
offer they
yeah,
say, "I will have to fuck off every week though, right?" And he
yeah,
goes,
yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
fine actually."
That's actually fine. We don't actually care. We'll do anything to accommodate you.
In the alternative universe of the substance, there is not currently the narrative of, "Oh, we just liked everyone to be in the office together because it's better for collaboration."
Yeah. We find that everyone's more productive when they come into the office.
Yeah. No, no, it's nothing to do.
Oh
It's
God.
nothing to do with commercial real estate and having this lease. No, 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 no. No. It's about the
What
I mean, I will still work from home as an executive, obviously. But
what does she get up to in this first 7 days? Much else? Is that kind of it? She's just
I think the first run,
It's
she,
just living it large, mate.
yeah, living each day
just
as if
living
it's
in
the
large,
last.
getting tanked right
I
up
will
every
say
night.
though, what I noticed when she's talking to Dennis Quaid and like other like powerful men, she does that thing that I almost feel like women are programmed into it from a young age, and it's only when you become older and more kind of bitter about the world, as I am, that you stop doing it. But like you're very like girlish, and you're like, oh, and you kind of look up through your eyes, and you're like giggly, and you're like, oh, whatever you want to do. Like it's a very girlish behavior, and it doesn't matter how old you are. You kind of go into this like appeasing kind of cutesy, like I'll do anything to please girlishness.
Hmm.
Um,
Almost like an infantile type of thing to almost like
yeah,
establish yourself like not as a
I'm not a
threat.
threat. Yeah, I'm moldable.
Yeah.
My
And
job
he
is
even
just to
says that, right?
please.
He even says like, "Oh, we can mold her into making, this will be perfect." Like it feeds into exactly what he is looking for.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's only when like when you get a bit older that you realize and you stop doing it, and then everyone thinks that you're a bitch. I am just a bitch, but like other
Yeah.
women, I'm sure, do have that issue
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they're not actually a bitch.
I mean, if we could
I
encourage our
wonder what that's
listeners,
like.
we could encourage our listeners to be anything. Is if you do meet not actual Dennis Quaid, I'm sure he's a nice man. If you do meet someone like Dennis Quaid, you be rude to them whatever age you are.
Yeah,
Take it from us.
Eat shit, Quaid.
we
Stop getting
give
right up in
you
my face.
permission.
Yeah. And if you try to get fired for it, so well, I heard from my friends at the Horror Hangout podcast that it was all right to be rude to you because actually I'm otherwise just feeding into perpetuating your bad behavior. So
Yeah,
take that to HR.
Take that to HR. Fancy a prawn, Quaid, you twat. So
Eat with your mouth closed, you bastard.
during this
yeah.
time, Elizabeth, when she switches back over, Elizabeth's like obviously feeling shame. There's obviously shame when she's like back in this body. So she's
She
like
wakes up
drinking
naked on the
heavily.
floor with a cut up back, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the pain when she realizes and she moves and she's like, ah,
Me back. Oh, me back. She drinks heavily. She binge eats. She watches TV. She wastes those 7 days essentially because, yeah, she's basically just counting down the minutes until she can get back into that body of Sue. And obviously, this is from the get-go. So, like, can you imagine how worse it's going to get? Sue, when she's in the body, she's partying. It says here she's having
that
casual.
cat suit with the Louboutin
Mm-hmm.
boots and the high plat.
Oh, the high
Shut the
flat. Yeah.
fuck up.
Shut the front door.
She ate and left no crumbs in that attire, let me tell you.
There were no
Oh,
crumbs, but there were all around the all around the apartment because Elizabeth don't give a shit about cleaning up. She leaves everything everywhere.
I'm just
Chicken
giving the cleaner
bones.
a night off because
Get
she
out of
can't be
it.
finding anyone on the floor in the bathroom.
Sue is basically Elizabeth's replacement on the TV show, which is yeah, the Call on Me video. It's just close-ups of aerobics. Lasts about 5 minutes as well. There we go. See you next week. See you
but
later.
also, they're like, you're supposed to be doing it along with them. I couldn't even do half that shit, and I was a dancer for many years.
Oh,
I'm not flexible in that way
hard
anymore.
work.
Like the things they were doing, I'm like, is everyone expected to follow along like Mr. Motivator style in the
I don't
morning
think
to this
anyone's followed.
fucking
Nobody's following along
It's
to
on at
that.
half seven, and it's on at half
If that's
seven.
on at half
yeah,
seven
like oh,
every morning.
whip your hair and kind of I like that's ambitious for first thing in the
Gyrate.
morning. All right. It's not
Here's a
accessible.
absolutely not. Um, so essentially, while this switcheroo keeps going on, Sue just keeps using more and more stabilizer to avoid having to switch, even though she was warned by the voice
Oh,
on the end of the telephone,
it's like a slippery
don't
slope, isn't it, at
bloody do
first?
it.
She
I hate.
was doing Vogue though, and she did need the extra time to finish banging that ungrateful
Yes, so
man.
that's a bit later when she says, "Oh, we've got Vogue tomorrow." The first taste of it is just literally she starts to feel a bit wampy. She wants to go out for that night.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
right. So after 7 days goes by, she gets a nosebleed and starts to like almost pass out
yeah,
until
if
she
she
gets more of
doesn't
that
until she gets
sweet,
more
sweet
stabilizer.
stabilizer.
But basically, she's on day 6.95, and she thinks, "Oh, everyone's going out to the pub,"
That's a
and
bit dressy for the pub. That's going out, out.
yeah, she is going out.
That's a
Um,
bit dressy for the pub. I don't. I love to walk into my local dressed to the absolute nines, just to
with
f
with
with
your high
everybody.
ponytail. Um,
Yeah.
Yes.
and she goes, "Oh, don't drink the last bit of your Yakult too quick. I'm not staying out late." But she
Mm.
does stay out late. Spoilers. She comes back with ungrateful motorbike man and goes, "I got time for a sex before I turn back into."
Time for one. Could I have time for one sex, please? Yes, you can.
Or if you're quick. But yeah, she is in. Meanwhile, Elizabeth in the bathroom is
It definitely,
gasping.
Convulsing.
Yeah,
it definitely,
she's like a Capri Sun. She's like,
it definitely won't be quick at the end of a night out. If the sun's coming up and you've decided to have intercourse at this point of the evening, it ain't gonna be quick.
You're numb from the neck down at that point. You can't
It
feel
ain't gonna be
anything.
quick. You're gonna be like, it's like playing pool with a length of rope. I'll be totally honest with you.
Yeah, and you've been riding a motorbike, so your body's shot with vibration already. It's like you've been running a pneumatic drill for several weeks. You've got vibration white finger. You can't. That's a real disease. Um, so
Any minute now, any minute.
uh,
Two bits of dry wood rubbing up against each other.
so she goes, okay, there is time for one section. Thinks, well, I tell you what, I'm getting funny here. I'm getting nosebleedy and wobbly and wampy, so I'm gonna have to go and see if I can't just slurp a little bit more spine juice out of Liz. Nips into the bathroom, goes,
Please, Liz, can I have some more?
if
No
you don't
more
want
spine juice for you.
if you don't want me to take more spine juice, breaking the rules of the substance,
Say
please sincerely say no now.
no.
What's that? Honey, yeah.
I'll take your silence as a
I'll
yes.
take your silence as compliance. She slurps
Very
out a bit of
dark.
spine juice, goes, yum, yum, yum. That gives her enough wherewithal to go and have a sex and hammer a load of bottles of Corona before she goes up, wakes up in the morning, turns back into Elizabeth, as promised, just overstayed a tiny bit. But unfortunately, Elizabeth has been left with a crook finger as a result.
She's been led, yeah, and it's irreversible as well. That finger is sticking with you forever. We did forget to mention as well earlier when she was Sue, she did arrange to meet that guy for a school for a school drink, old schoolmate for a drink,
Oh,
and she
Fred.
and
Full
but she
drink.
lost her confidence based on the fact that she'd already switched to Sue, and now she was just hating every single outfit she was wearing,
Oh,
just
that
like
was so
picking
sad
apart a
because we've
thing.
all been
Yeah.
there, isn't it? Like you add a bit and you're like, no, no, no. And then you're like, oh God, but and then you put the scarf and then like you could see her getting more and more frustrated as the time is running out and she still doesn't feel quite right. And then in the end, she just messes all
Messes
her
it all
hair and
up.
face
Yeah.
and then just sits there while the phone is dinging.
Mm,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's so sad because
Um,
you want her to succeed so badly. You're like, just go, just
it's
go and have
even
this
when
date.
on a second watch, I was like, maybe. She nearly makes it out the door on the
she
second
really
watch. I was
does.
like, maybe she will. I was
She's
like,
just
no, babe, you've seen
neglecting
this. She's not.
neglecting her own happiness. It's got to the point where she is living only for Sue at this point. That is it. That's all
She
she
feels she doesn't
exists to
deserve it,
do.
right? Like all she does is goes and gets her
Mm,
refill and then stays in the house because she's
mm,
ashamed to go out as she is because it's made her think worse of worse of herself, right?
yeah.
Um,
Um, what happens? Weeks go on, and it basically just keeps happening where different things happen to Sue, where she's like, actually, you know what? An extra half a day was fine. Maybe an extra day. Then the next time, maybe
before
an
she
extra.
gets even worse, I think on this refill when she's just got the finger issue and she understands it's irreversible, on her go to collect the refill, she sees someone watching her and she gets a bit spooked and goes to a cafe and she meets a wizened old man with a very familiar birthmark.
A
Um,
wizard old
a wizened
man.
old man while she's ordering a coffee and like he very sort of cryptically says like,
How did he get a job as a nurse? Or was he was already a nurse as an old
well,
man?
basically the hospital was saying, oh, what I want is a young sexy healthcare worker. And he goes and he just turned up one day, made an arrangement to only work every other week, and
Yeah.
Because they're famously flexible in healthcare.
Famously flexible in the NHS.
I can only imagine that he's a bank worker and therefore he just takes he takes shifts that are available. He's not on a formal contract,
Yeah.
agency work.
We'll give you the
Um,
substance for free if you do some add-on sales for us. It's a pyramid scheme. If you hire
It's an
another,
MLM.
it's a
yeah,
oh no, it's an
She's in
MLM.
his downline now.
Actually, it's not an MLM, and I'll explain
Yeah, if you
why.
look at normal businesses, it's a pyramid shape.
yeah,
It's an upside down pyramid,
It's
actually. It's one of
direct
these.
sales.
yeah. I like to think of
Jesus.
it as a trapezoid.
No.
So
Our
more of a
business model,
parallelogram.
our business model is the rhombus. So maybe that's it. He's in that hospital place. Maybe he is, in a world where prequels and sidequels are a thing, Ben, you'll see in a few years' time the nurse, and it'll be about
Oh
him
God.
having
And
a
it'll just
job.
be the
You
same
can
story.
you can get the substance only if you occasionally slip a USB into the pocket of someone who's having a shit birthday.
Yeah. We've got
Um,
100 USBs there for you, right? 100 USBs. We want to know whose pockets they're going in, and they got trackers on them, so you can't just sling them all in the
you
bin.
can't just
All
whack
right?
them. You can't just post them down a drain.
You can't just put them down the drain like you did with your paper round all those years ago. Oh.
Half the West Midlands is flooded because he did that. Um, so yeah, so he has this thing, and despite the fact he was very pro having the substance, his
He
tone
seems
has
very
changed a
bitter,
little bit.
like
He's
by the
like,
end.
"Have you started resenting your own life yet?" You could have mentioned this in the USB video, the nurse.
Yeah, but that was
Um,
the other version of him that wasn't being taken advantage
of
of, isn't it?
course,
So
as an old man, he might have all the wisdom. So yeah, she is kind of scared by him and runs out of the runs out of the place. She doesn't want to speak to him. She says, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then, everything he has said is coming true. I think it works both ways, like because Elizabeth begins to really resent Sue to the point where she wakes up before she starts over using even more. Um, when she wakes up on this occasion, this hasn't been the French cookbook occurrence. This is the time when she has like newspapered over the window,
yeah.
like to block out the view of the huge Sue
No,
billboard.
wasn't that the same? Because she was doing the eggs and it was splashing up in her face, and then she was throwing the eggs at the window,
I
and
think
then
this is
she
the time
put
when
the
this is the time when she is just eating all the food that she has because this is chicken bone time. Um, she's got a big roast chicken in. She's ordering in. She's eating like she's eating the food, and she's already been relegated in her own house because last time Sue was in control as well. Ben, I did recall there is one more thing she did apart from get the job. She did build a little cubby hole to keep her in and meet her gross neighbor who's like, "Bloody Demi Moore, stop doing it." And then he was like, "Oh,
Oh, actually, I was gonna
I'm
say Demi Moore stop banging, but actually now I find you attractive. I'm gonna try it
yeah,
on.
pretty handy myself, actually, if you
he
want."
really felt like he was in with the chance, didn't he?
Yeah.
He
But
really
but
had
all men
no.
but
Minimal
so many men
self-awareness.
but so many men do, right? They really, really do. They
You're
think
telling me.
if I am just nice, if I do the bare minimum, which is just be nice, then for some reason I'm owed something,
If
and that
I'm
is
vaguely civil to you,
Because they
um,
don't realize that that is actually just a baseline for being a decent human. It's
yeah,
not something beneficial that you do to attract someone. It's just how you should be anyway.
yeah,
yeah.
And
And it
it's
is
not
annoying when you
real
see
because as soon as you say no, they're like, you fucking bitch. And you're
yeah.
like, whoa, oh, how the
Jesus.
tides have turned.
Yeah. That
When
was a
people
trick. Actually, if you'd been nice for 10 more seconds, you would have had a chance. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
actually
It's like
ah,
Peter Serafinowicz. That was the test.
oh Jesus. Um right. Well, what? Oh yeah, when you said about her with the food and everything like that, that is obviously a representation of we've all been there where we've had a big takeaway or like a big night of drinking or something, and you come downstairs the next day and there's a mess everywhere, and you kind of feel humiliated, a bit embarrassed of the person you were last night, eating all the chicken nuggets, eating the fried rice, smashing all the beers, and everything's dirty, and you're kind of a bit like ashamed.
Oh, I
And I
wish I'd
guess
put this
this
in
is
the
a
bin before I'd gone to bed. This would have been easier today.
yeah, that is the representation of that. And obviously, as Sue continues to abuse the stabilizer, Elizabeth's getting worse and worse. And how many times when this happened, I couldn't wait to see what had happened after she'd like been gone for like 3 months. That was
Oh yeah, because they
absolutely
never show
insane.
you. Yeah, yeah, because Sue wakes up and the whole place is an absolute tip. And she's like, I'm not going to live this way. You're disgusting. And storms in there and just starts getting all of these
Takes
jars and syringe until it's
so
like gummy, discolored fluid where it's obviously
yeah,
like really infected and like
taking
gross.
the most
Please,
out
no
of her.
more. I've
And at
got
the,
no more fluid to give. Just one more. Just
and at,
one more, please.
and at this point, like on that changeover, we have had the period where Demi Moore has had the time when she had a binge on food and has then gone to like opening the cookbook she was given as a goodbye present. She's already been withered a lot. Her hair has got really thin at this
Yeah.
point as well. And the bit that got me the most is when Sue was on the TV and she wanted to get up to reach that book to go and do something else. Her like arthritic and swollen, like liquid filled, like edematous knee that she had to
Oh,
like pop into place to move. It was
yeah. Not good.
horrific, and you felt like the pain of every step she was having to take there. But yeah, that's the state that she gets in, and she hates Sue at this point. She's hearing her on TV
Mm.
where it's like a really like disrespectful interview. She's like, well, more like geriatric, like Jurassic fitness, and she's like, ugh, she's so angry.
Mm.
He's like throwing those eggs into the
Oh,
bowl
I
and
know
making a
the
mess.
interviewer is like, what's your beauty secret? And Elizabeth Sparkle's like, yeah, fucking it's me. Tell him that it's me. And she's like, oh, just be yourself. And that really
Oh
sets
yeah.
Elizabeth off because she's like, fucking be yourself. Like, you've literally drained my life essence.
And that's the argument, isn't it? Where they like she makes that mess, and then when she succumbs, that's when she pulls out all of the content out of her. Bear with me a second.
Pulls all the content out of her. Give me
She
this
just
content.
drains her of content.
Bloody give me that content, and then essentially leaves her for 3 months. And I was just absolutely terrified of the consequences of this. Just like I don't know, like somehow even worse than like I could have imagined in a way,
Yeah.
even at this stage.
Yeah.
Um, so essentially she runs out of the stabilizer. I think it should sorry, one thing we need to establish, she gets invited to host the New Year's Eve special, which is like what? Jules Holland's Hootenanny? Is that what it's going to
Yeah,
be?
but with like bare-breasted women. I didn't understand that because there was a child in the audience. But all of those cabaret dancers at the New Year's Eve party had their jugs out.
Is it like is it like this some weird sort of like hypersexualized, I
Euro
mean,
trash.
Euro trash near future? Not to say that we're too far away from that, but you know what I mean, like the fact that there's aerobics on in the morning on TV, there's nudity like later on New Year's Eve. Maybe they save it just for New Year's Eve, you know? Just one special thing. We're gonna have some tits out on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, just for a
Everybody,
treat for everyone.
just for a treat.
In the interest of equality, I'd like to suggest that there be some dicks or at least ball sacks out.
Just ball sacks.
Yeah, because I mean, full frontal nudity, I think you need
What
a
a wonderful
different
time to return.
you need like a different license for that. Like you could show tits
Yeah.
and bum, for
Is Flaccid
example.
is Flaccid all right? Flaccid's all right, isn't it?
I
Is that
think
allowed?
flaccid might be okay, but a
Yeah.
man can only show his bum. But a
Mm,
woman can get like there's films that where women are full frontal, but the man will only show his bum. So either
mm.
people really don't like penises, or there's something secret about penises that you don't want us to know about.
I reckon it's the latter. There's something going on. What are them knobs all about, eh?
We conspiracies, big penis. He's trying to keep something from
I
us.
mean, you will
Big
have to. I mean,
penis.
you will have to edit this out, Ben. But I don't think the laser pointers are common knowledge.
What? Laser pointers.
Very well, Ben. Like you see,
Is that how you get the
Ben is
accuracy for when
completely on the kayfabe. He doesn't
you know
even
like
admit to
the
Yeah,
himself.
what?
laser that you have when you're like you've got a spirit level and it shoots a laser at the wall so you can
Yeah,
make sure that you've got it just right? Is that what
yeah.
you
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you use. You can use it for loads of stuff. Swiss
That's
Army knife
that's
down there.
that's how that's how the gender roles have usually been defined, Emma,
Kayfabe.
about like men usually being associated with DIY. It's because you have a laser level that's built in biologically.
it's because the penis is in fact a multi-tool and it
Yeah.
peels back and you've got like the little like scissors that come out and then kind of the nail file that comes out of there like a bottle
Yeah,
opener.
talking about
To be honest, if you're well hydrated, you can use it as a laser cutter.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to
If-
concentrate real
Yeah,
hard.
just to make sure it doesn't. Yeah.
But obviously, because of the way that laser light would interfere with the lens of a camera, that's why you can't
That
really have them on
can't
film.
be fair enough.
You know when you point, when you point a TV remote at a video camera and you press the button, you can see a light come off. It's like that.
I really appreciate your candor in this
Yeah.
conversation.
Very
Thank you for
specific.
sharing the secret with me, even though you
I
have
thought
to
you
edit
weren't
this
supposed to
out.
share these secrets, Andy. You can't.
No,
go
you
jumping
can edit this out. I think we can trust Emma. We've known her
I
long
ain't
enough,
mucking
Ben.
about with
But
that.
if you can, oh, okay.
I ain't mucking
fine.
about with that.
But if the
right.
man police come for you, Ben, because we've revealed,
I am the man police.
if we've revealed the patriarchy's biggest secret of all.
So, moving swiftly on, what happens? Oh yeah, so she gets to. You could host a New Year's Eve special. We've decided, Andy. It's a slightly sexier version of Jules Holland's Hootenanny. She essentially has enough stabilizer for 3 months, but on the eve of the special,
Did you mention
Sue
that when
runs out
did
of
you
the
mention that when
stabilizer?
Dennis Quaid offers her the New Year's Eve special, he does classic
Simon
media
Cowell.
boss, where he's like, I didn't like it. I love it.
Golden buzzer on Britain's Got Talent for someone who's got, I don't know, can beatbox one song. I don't
Hate it
know,
when they
some
toy
shite.
with emotions like that, though.
Yeah, I hate that as well. I actually hated it. That's what I want to say. I fucking hated it, you twat.
Would you love?
I loved the
I'd love
close-ups
to
of your arse.
I'd love to be in a position where I didn't care about another thing to just waste an entire weekend of my life, probably many months of my life, generate an incredible talent, knowing that I would be offered to get through to judges' houses, get that far, wait for them to say something emotionally manipulative, and then say, I don't think that's actually a very good way to talk to people. I'll decline. Thank you. Goodbye. And then never be seen
Take your
again.
hat and off you
Yeah.
go.
So
Exactly.
Sue runs out of the stabilizer. She calls the supplier. Got any more of that stabilizer? I'm absolutely gasping over here. I need a bit more. I've got a New Year's Eve special tomorrow. That's what they all say. They all say that. Got a New Year's Eve special tomorrow. Sorry, you've fucked it. Basically,
Count
they're
forward,
saying
Sue. Take a week off.
you've only got yourself to blame. You know, you've only
Yeah.
got yourself to blame. It's like that. Yeah, we've all been there. We've all gone. Oh, I'm not gonna make it out to be a horrible story of addiction. Let's make it. You got a multi-pack of Snickers in the cupboard. Lovely, delicious. That's one for each day. One for each day this week. I'm gonna eat one. I'm gonna eat one every day this week. Save
Then you have a
myself up for a
stressful phone
lovely
call
treat.
about
Not
two
even a
o'clock in the
stressful phone call,
afternoon.
Andy. Not even a stressful phone call. This is what I do. I open the
Bored.
first one. I go, oh, that's a lot smaller than I thought it was. So really,
You need at least 3 to be one.
I was gonna say
normal
2.
Snickers.
I was going to say 2, but Emma seems to represent the exact way my brain communicates with me, where it goes, if you're having 2, why not have 3? And then by the time you've had 3, an hour goes by, an
And then you're
hour.
like, maybe I should just finish all of
And
these
you're like,
Snickers
you know
now
what?
because
If
they're
I just eat
gone.
all these Snickers and then they're
Then
gone
it's
from the
done.
house,
Yeah.
and then it's done, they're
Then
gone
it's
from the house,
done.
it's fine. But then I go, oh my God, I forgot to buy washing up liquid. I'm in the shop again. I see the Snickers and it's at the same place, and I've bought another packet. It's the same day. It's the same day, Emma
Do you
Cownley.
know
Same
what
day.
they do? I've noticed that they do this Halloween and Christmas. They release everything and Easter really, really early because they know you're going to be like, oh, I better get that now and I can keep it. You
I
know
got no
you're not
time
going to
for that.
keep it. They know you're
No.
not going to keep it. You're going to breeze through that. And then as soon as the day after the event, they take it all away. So you can't get any on discount.
And what is it when you decide to hide something from yourself? Why do you do that? Because
you
did
make it more alluring, don't you? You're like, oh,
You
it's
hid
a
it.
game.
You hid it so you know where it is, you idiot.
I know I've sellotaped a Snickers to the back of the system. I can go and get it
What,
anytime I want.
like a 9mm, like a Glock, just like. Oh God, lovely.
I know I know I've absconded like a load of Maltesers and actually put them into the soil of the plant pot. You can get through it.
I think
God.
forbidden food is the most desirable kind of food.
Yeah.
If I'm not allowed to have it,
When the Christmas
I
cheese
don't
is
want
in your
it.
house, you're like, well, now actually, I want this to be November cheese.
I've never been the kind of person who has like buys Christmas food and goes, "This is only for Christmas. You have to save it." Can't do that.
Big
Needs to
tub
be
of
Christmas
Twiglets, I'm
shop.
straight into them.
Oh my God, big tub of Twiglets, the cheeselets, which are the shape of Christmas
Christmas puddings.
trees. I Saw them the other day. Bought 3 packets.
Just
Free
smashed up and
drums.
snorted them.
3 drums. 2 of them have been hidden, but
In
not
the
by me.
car.
But not by me, because I can't hide them, because I'll know and
Yeah.
I'll get them. But the first drum, I said I got to eat the first drum because that's got to be my reward for now hiding the others.
No,
Okay.
babe, I feel you. I'm there with you on this.
And
100.
I need to
Yeah.
establish as well that, you can't just enjoy these things. You're not going to sit there. Let's go back to your Snickers, Ben. You're not going to sit there and enjoy that pack of Snickers, one
You're going to be
Snickers at a
thinking about the
time.
next Snicker
Yeah,
and
and
the
to be
Snicker
fair,
after that.
you're going to accelerate eating them to the point where I've done it with like a bag of Haribos or something before, and it's like I'm eating them and I'm going like I don't want to save any of these. I'm not going to stop, but I'm not going to put them away. So I'm actually taking out once I can remove what is in the bag and just have it in my hand. Then right, I've thrown the bag away now, and then what's left in my hands? Shall I just eat all these in one massive like neck them like a pint of Smarties? Let's do it.
Get them down, you.
I don't
Oh,
trust anyone that buys one of those big dairy milks and doesn't just cane the whole thing immediately.
Oh yeah.
What you're saving, are
Yeah.
you? 2 lines of chocolate?
do
You're
you
saving
remember
it for when?
madness?
Eat it now. You know
Do
you
you
want
remember
to.
when that massive dairy milk, they still probably do it at Christmas, came out like the two like tablets of with the Ten Commandments written on them? They were massive.
No, I've never
I'm
seen
like,
them.
I'll just absolutely destroy
It's
those.
like a wallpapering table. It's
It's
massive.
massive.
I'd
Talk.
karate
La
chop that
Oh
thing
yeah.
and then eat it whole like a
The
snake.
last comment on Snickers is Snickers has always messed with my emotions because it started off as that you could get the king size, which was great. That was satisfying to a degree. Then it turned it into the duo, where it's like, oh, it's two. Well, if I'm gonna
Yeah,
eat
because you
one, I
can
might as
just
well eat
go
two.
like,
Yeah. Yeah,
You can
don't you and put them
you
all in
can
your mouth at
chipmunk it.
once.
yeah.
And then obviously they've got smaller and smaller, but then in a multi-pack, it doesn't go here are 6 normal size ones. It goes here are 6 slightly
Multi-pack
smaller
size.
than normal size ones. Fucking just give me the Snickers, God's sake.
It's that thing they've started doing now, though, isn't it? Where they like squeeze that chocolate bars are smaller, but they're charging you more for it, like the fucking Toblerone with the giant gap in the middle. Now it's even harder and more painful to get a whole triangle in your mouth.
Oh Jesus. I'm gonna try, for God's
There's
sake.
a fucking landscape
The
between one
Does a
pleat and the next.
yeah, yeah.
Does a
The
king
point
size not
Dolly.
exist anymore?
The what?
A king size chocolate bar doesn't exist anymore, no?
No. It's like
I get you know why
it was
you
like
know
a
why that is
duo.
though, Ben. It's king
Go on.
size. I mean, king size you wouldn't pay for it yourself. It'd be publicly funded. It'd be a massive leech on society as a
By
chocolate
king
Yeah.
bar.
size now they mean King
Big
Charles's
sausage
great big
fingers.
sausage fingers around it. Oh. The point we're making here is that Sue doesn't her eyes are too big for her belly. Is that
Yeah,
right?
no, she wants to use it all up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like for her, Elizabeth Sparkle is no longer, the source of her life, someone who she is one and the same with. She is a
No.
pack of Snickers that wants finishing
Yeah.
immediately.
She's
And
treating her
like
like
the let's just talk about the fact that this film is not just body horror in the overt sense, like the ending or someone coming out of someone's back. It is disgusting in every way it possibly can be. Disgusting food, disgusting noises. It's like anything that you might be squeamish about, it's going to go there. Teeth, nails, eyeballs, belly
Yeah.
buttons.
Chicken
Like,
bone in your belly button, horrible.
yeah, like did I say injections? Injections,
Injections.
pus, scenes of surgery. It's like they've just sat down and been like, right, what does everyone find disgusting?
It's basically like
we
the
will
human
work
body.
it all in.
The human body is a horrible big meat sack full of horrible stuff. You think it's sexy, do you? Well, have a look at this. And then it makes you want to vomit. So yeah, so this is the eve of the New Year's Eve show as well. But what she manages to do when she runs out of the stabilizer, she calls the supplier to beg for some more. Please give me some of that get stabilizer, sweet, sweet stabilizer. But they tell her the only way to replenish the supply is switch back to Elizabeth. But when she does, she finds herself basically looking like Angelica Houston in The Witches, but with maybe more of a
Accurate.
maybe more of a hunchback, maybe of a slightly more of a hunchback, and way way worse than we could have ever anticipated is how poor Elizabeth looks. Very old, very hunchbacked.
Yeah, all her
All of her
spinal
hair
fluid's
is
been
gone.
drained, though, isn't it? So she's all
Yeah,
hunched over with a massive hump back and a distorted spine.
yeah. So then Elizabeth is fully, her and Sue are at loggerheads now. They're enemies. Elizabeth disguises herself in the coat and other heavy clothing, and she manages to obtain a serum now, which is going to like end this whole
Termination.
process. It's going to terminate Sue. Um,
And like all poisonous termination fluids, a horrible viscous black liquid. It's the Prometheus black ooze back again.
it's the bloody Black Ooze again. But when she's injected into Sue, she can't quite put the whole dose in. Because she's still, I guess she's still yearning for. It says here,
She
yearning for
Yeah.
realizes she
admiration.
wants the New Year's Eve show is that night,
Vicarious.
and she looks at those flowers. I think Emma mentioned it earlier,
Yeah, and
saying
Oh
she
like,
yeah,
looks at
yeah,
the
of course.
poster for the like New Year's thing, and she was like, "It's our big night." Oh my God, when she says that, she was like, "No, it's our big night. You have to go. You
yeah.
have to be amazing." Like,
And Sue starts dying. So I guess in a last ditch attempt, Elizabeth goes to use the switch mechanism one more time, and by circumstances unknown, what this results in happening is them both being conscious at the same time. Because up to this point, one has
Hmm.
always been completely unconscious while the other is awake and operative.
it's the
So
first time they meet, isn't it?
yeah,
The first and only
Yeah.
time.
And Sue obviously sees the near empty termination serum, realizes what Elizabeth's going to do, and basically have a big old fight. Um, which is kind of ridiculous. People like flying around Street Fighter style,
and Sue
smashing
fights
into
like a
the images.
Terminator.
Yeah. You go. Not only is she young, attractive, and physical perfection, she
She
can
can
give
also
you.
kick down a bathroom door,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and kick a fully
terrifying.
grown and kick an old woman clear across a room into a
clear across a
picture.
room into a glass table,
Yeah,
And then
and smashing her face against the mirror as well. Oh, I couldn't watch that. That was
it's
brutal.
brutal.
beats her to death essentially, doesn't she? Just
Yeah,
like blood
it's like
spraying.
incredible violence. And I mean, we'll touch on it now, but my expectation watching this scene is that I thought the activator was coming out as part of this fight,
What's that?
but it doesn't. I thought the activator was maybe going to come out as part
Oh,
of
I've
this
got you.
fight
I've got you.
while they're in the bathroom.
Almost like Bane's. What's the stuff he uses?
Venom.
Venom. Yeah, almost like. I mean, it's the same color, isn't it? So it would have worked. But Sue basically smashes her face in and then leaves. Sorry, I've got to go and host the New Year's Eve show. I've got to host a Hootenanny with Jules Holland on piano. Um, So, but pretty much straight from the off, Sue's body, without the stabilizer, is beginning to rapidly deteriorate. She goes to, and again, like a lot of stuff that happens in this film is kind of like visualizations of like people's worst nightmares. Essentially, we've all had dreams, I guess, where we've lost teeth, where we wake up on the toilet naked. I don't know.
Or you're at
She
school, but you've got no shoes. Fucking hell.
I
How
wake
did I
up, there's
get here?
got no shoes. Where are my bloody shoes? Hey, no shoes, no shoes.
And it's like lunchtime. How's no one noticing?
How's no one noticed he's got no shoes? Um, yeah, her teeth fall out, and then
The
what
teeth
else?
falling out
Not just
is
teeth,
That was
fingernails.
harrowing.
brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal, wasn't it? Like, because you forget how big teeth are, don't you? When they come all the way
The
out. Boom,
roots go,
boom.
yeah.
Jesus. Fingernail and ear. She's like, basically, she's trying her very best to be like the
Keep it
show must go
together.
on. Keep it together. Everybody else is kind of like, "Are you all right, Sue?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah, fine.
Well,
Keep
not
my
even like
teeth."
Dennis Quaid and like here
Give
is
us a
me,
smile.
Dennis Quaid, and the shareholders are like meet
Oh
her in the
yeah.
thing, and they are completely oblivious, willingly or unwillingly, or to what her plight is. And they just, oh, you give us a smile, and we've seen her in the bathroom with the huge gaps in her mouth, and she's like tears in her eyes, and clearly incredibly distressed. And
The old toothless smile.
whether they ignore it or are unaware of it, they just
Well, no,
move
a
on.
gaggle of bare-breasted showgirls walk past,
Of
and so they
course.
all kind of chase after
Is it
them.
definitely a gaggle? Yeah, it's definitely a gaggle, isn't it?
It's a gaggle.
It's
Yeah.
a gaggle. um, but
A
basically,
breast. Or bare-breasted.
Abreast of bare breast walks
Abreast of
past.
bare-bested
That's the
showgirls.
collective noun for showgirls, just abreast.
Um, Sue basically her final roll of the dice is to use some of the leftover activator serum. Um,
To
does something come
become the
out
best version of
to become the best
Sue.
version of herself? But because you haven't followed the rules,
You can only activate once.
It said chuck
you
it in the
can only
bin. Why didn't you?
Single
yeah
use.
You know
if you
why?
activate
No cleaner.
No fucking cleaner, mate. Didn't take the
if you
bins
act
out.
if you activate twice. Well, what's the worst that could happen? Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh, don't worry about it. The worst that can happen is Monstro Eliza Sue.
I mean, before we even
Eliza
get
Sue.
to Monstro Elizasu, that is the thing. But this is very indicative of like this uncontrolled cell division and unmitigated growth and unstructured growth. Effectively, what Sue has created here is a cancerous form because that's what that ultimately is. It is cells growing without a pattern, cells growing without direction, without limit, which is why when people have, again, it's an incredibly visceral horror trope here and a horror visual. Cancer is probably a thing that would scare most people, right? Because it's a very real and very serious illness, and it is visceral and unpleasant. When people have tumors removed, they do have teeth and different structures in there that these completely elastic cells are able to form into when they are corrupted and off pattern. It is like getting the sequence that creates you scrambled and uncontrolled. And that's what happens into this form that's happened, which was never meant to be created again. It wasn't designed to be used this way. And she becomes it shows how they're the whole because we've seen Elizabeth killed earlier and her body is in that apartment still, but yet because they are one, Elizabeth to a degree exists again and is alive again as a face on the back of this Akira-like monster which has been created.
Mm.
It's like the emotion that you feel at
Yeah.
that time when you see that. It's such a ridiculous caricature. It's so obscene and outlandish and grotesque that it's funny, but it's also unbearably sad. And it's some kind, I bet the Germans would have a word for it, whatever that emotion is, where you're just like, I'm laughing because I'm
Disturbed.
that's the easiest emotion to go to in the swirling stew of emotion that I'm currently
the fact
mired in.
she continues to like dress herself and basically like the show must go on.
Tim, but she's not got any
Does she put a little
ears.
tiara on? Little tiara
Pins the
go on?
And she
earrings
tries
into
to
a
curl
flash.
her hair and burns off the single lock that she's got, like puts it in a twirling iron and it just sizzles away.
Same thing happened to me.
We've all
and
done it.
and it's capped off at the end by that picture of Elizabeth at that time that she was happy with her appearance, that looms over her that we've seen
Some great
damaged in the fight.
the
Gets the
fact it was
face.
damaged in the fight, that smash on the window is such a great visual as well. Like again, in other films it could be considered as heavy-handed, but I think with stuff like this, it's so heavy-handed that it goes all the way around and becomes like nuanced again. I think that's what this film's really good at doing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, she wears like that mask essentially, the cutout of the face on her face, as if people are gonna go, "Oh, Elizabeth Sparkle, didn't see
Yeah,
you
and she
there."
puts lipstick on it as well, doesn't she?
Just basically,
Babe.
And we get
sorry,
into
you're
like
doing
a
too much.
we get to a mental unraveling now, and this element here, but especially with the extreme horror and the lighting, big sort of giallo vibes here. In that, you get this character walking along, and it's a dream-like sequence because from her side, we see like all of the people that she probably wanted the respect and the ongoing love from, saying, "You belong here. You are always a part of this. You are part of our family. We love you." And then we do get a flash of reality and she everyone's getting ready for the show, so the corridor is empty. It isn't that
Mm.
people have just not recognized that there is a very serious problem with Sue, well, Eliza Sue, and she's able to like get backstage, and we have our finale with her walking out as part of this show, right?
They
Mm.
subtitle her, which is just so
Just the
cruel.
final, the final nail in the
Yeah, well,
coffin.
she's like, it's me, it's Sue, like, and they fucking subtitled it. I was just like, that's harsh.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
That's so harsh.
Um, the mask falls off when she's on stage, and
And at that point,
basically
they only
it
realize
just
that they.
erupts into.
Quick question before we get into the erupting. You taking your little girl along to go to the New Year's Eve naked lady show?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah,
But
probably
that
not.
little girl was perfect because when the carnage kicks off and she starts crying, that's really what makes it for me.
Yeah.
When they're like,
I don't believe it until I see a kid crying. That's when I
yeah,
go, oh yeah, it is pretty bad, isn't it? Yeah. Um,
lol.
so she basically just starts erupting blood from all of her different.
Yeah, somebody tries to hit her with something, don't they? Oh no, no, wait. She vomits a tit out
Oh my
of an
God.
extra arsehole, or is
Yes.
it an
Yeah.
eye socket, or
That's a
is it a
fantastic, fantastic
what is that
sentence.
orifice?
She vomits a tit out of an extra asshole. Emma
She
Cownley.
vomits a tit. I when I
That's good
saw
in the
that, I was
highlights, right,
like,
Ben?
masterpiece, masterpiece.
Masterpiece. What does this
And the tit
represent? What
has a
does
big
this?
like umbilical cord and it
Yeah.
just drops to the floor in like a bloody clump.
I mean, what are we representing here? What are we talking about? We're talking about childbirth, or is it just? I mean, is this? Are we
She's
continuing to
she is
to hit the metaphors, or is it
she has
just?
birthed what those horrible executives were so obsessed about of what they
Yeah,
want. She's
yeah.
like, what do you want?
What do you
Like,
think of tits now,
Tits and
motherfucker?
ass.
and doesn't
Yeah,
it go to actually? Doesn't it even replay
it
the
does.
horrible
Yeah, yeah,
casting
yeah.
agents going, well, I
Mm,
wish the tits were where her face was, or something along
Yeah, she
those
should have a pair of
lines.
tits where her nose was or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
and this is now what is happening because the pattern, the cohesion of this as a person has been entirely lost, and now she
Mm.
is basically just the bits that she was seen as.
And then someone tries to like hit her or something off the stage and breaks her weird arm, and it just sprays and sprays and sprays.
Yeah. It goes full like um, just unbelievable gore, like
Yeah,
splatterpunk, ridiculous body
People
horror.
screaming,
and
People
everything's
screaming, people
red.
slipping over in blood, just
yeah,
people with mouths
crying.
full of blood,
Does
just
someone
pure.
shoot her in the head and then, or smash her with something, and then
Someone hits
another
her with
head
something, don't they? Yeah.
grows?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
She
Oh
basically
yeah.
she
So some
escapes the
people
studio.
eventually stop being afraid and become angry, and there are people shoving her, and then someone like smashes her head entirely.
Angry. I'm angry at this. But when she does escape the studio, she just collapses into just a big puddle of horrible
Yeah, she
gore and
staggers, doesn't
viscera.
she? And she
Yeah.
just
Staggers, yeah.
explodes.
Yeah, the body
This,
basically begins to collapse, and then all that is left is Elizabeth's face, like
yeah.
crawling on like just tendrils of remaining flesh.
So even in these last gasps, when there's nothing left of her, she's still crawling towards that fame, that Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
Mm.
Um,
And then
yeah,
she melts away like a fallen enemy in a game that the game doesn't have the memory to retain anymore, and she sort of fizzles away into nothing, into that star.
yeah.
And we
Like
end
an ice
with,
pop in the
yeah,
sun,
ice
Hmm.
pop in the sun.
like a
And then
fallen ice pop.
and the next day, like we have the final thing as the credits begin to play of, you know, it's another day in Hollywood or wherever this fictionalized version of it is, and the street sweeper comes out, and the residual marks that are on her star on the Walk of Fame, they are
Mm,
swept away by the cleaning streets, and there will be no trace left of her apart from that cracked star.
Jesus.
That's a nice full circle moment as well, taking us back to the beginning when they were
Yeah,
putting
we
the
didn't
star
mention that, did we?
down.
I guess her old body's also still dead in her apartment, unless that's also faded away.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Her
Maybe.
murdered old
And
lady
Sue's
body.
naked body up there as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's all happening. Um, okay, there we go. Then what? That was
When that
quite a
neighbor
ride.
eventually breaks into her house, it's gonna be carnage.
Oh, the sights he'll see.
You'll love it. Have we got any name game, Andy?
Yeah, I got a couple for you, Ben. What's the synopsis of this film?
A fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug to create a younger, better version of herself.
Okay. In this film, a faded celebrity, rather than take a black market drug, actually just reconnects with some old friends, takes up Emma on her offer to go on a ghost walk and have a drink, and then they just get down the boozer, and she feels much better for it.
The pub stunts.
Pub stunts, very good. The
I
pub stunts
knew.
is what makes her feel better in this.
Bloody hell. How dare you, Andy? I shouldn't have let you go first.
Was pub stunts
I'm
the
gonna
only one
say
you
I'm gonna
had?
say mine anyway. So screw you. Um,
Well, I know the answer now.
a fading celebrity standing at the bar in the free house, standing at the bar, can't get served for love nor money. So inject something that makes them stand in a certain way that is much more catching to the eye of the barman.
Pause. Is it pub stunts?
The pub stance. So there we go. There we go. Eat shit. But secondly, and then after the pub, they decide they want to go out. And he goes, actually, I need a new injection for that because it's slightly more difficult to get served in a nightclub scenario.
Makes you taller.
Makes
Does
you
it give
slightly
you
longer arms.
does it give you a better club stance?
It does. The club stunts.
Do you have one, Emma, before I go on to another? And there's only a certain number of rhymes.
Of course I don't. This is the worst game ever, and I'm happy to be a spectator in
Oh
it.
yeah, do you hate this game? I can't remember. You do
Yeah.
hate this game.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's so fucking dumb, but I love how much you love it.
Okay.
That wasn't patronizing. Carry
Okay, Ben.
on. Carry
You've
on,
got
Andy.
this
Let's
one.
make this
I
last
believe.
forever.
I believe in you. So a fading celebrity decides that actually there's nothing wrong with her. She just needs a completely new market to go to. So she takes an illegal black market drug that turns her into a little caterpillar where she takes the nightclub scene by storm with all of her powerful moves.
The grub stunts.
Almost, because she's going to do all of her great moves and she's going to be hitting
The grub
strictly.
dance.
Like grub dance, very good.
The grub dance, you absolute grub.
The grub dance.
You grub
You
dance.
grub.
I beg of you, just take a minute. Think about this. The
Hang on a minute. Don't stare the name game directly in the eye because it will.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got any more, Andy. To be fair,
In many
to be
ways.
fair,
And
this is
I'm absolutely on form because I originally was gonna say the grub stunts, but after Ben absolutely trounced me for not fully rhyming and having two different words. I've
yeah,
used
because
the
he did
activator
pub
twice.
stance.
Yeah, I used the activator twice on that one, and it's become a cancerous monstrosity.
Oh Jesus!
That should become the new allegory, right? Oh, he's used the activator twice on
You've
that
used-
one.
Bloody hell, state of him, he's used the activator twice.
Do you know what? This is probably the worst one to try and win Emma round. That the name game's good because it's fucking hard. This one, I hated this. I was going back and forth for ages.
If you say nubstance, Ben.
I was thinking nubstance, but I can't find a way to deliver it. Nubstance. The nubstance. No, I can't. I can't work it out. Andy, you got any more?
Um,
Of course he has.
no, this is top of the dome stuff. So this is. I don't
Are you
know how.
allowed to riff in this game? Do you
Yeah.
have to come pre-prepared?
Riffing's fine.
No, this is
no.
this is
Riffing's
entirely
absolutely
this
fine.
is
Do you want a riff?
entirely riffing.
You want a riff?
Have you got one, Emma?
No.
Okay, fine. Here we go, Ben. Wishing, that's right. Um, a fallen celebrity. Um, having listened to our previous episode, um, thinks that she will wish for her youth to return, not wishing to get involved in in black market beauty treatments. So, but unfortunately, she is through a connection that I cannot establish. Rather than coming from crystals, she thinks genies appear in
The
military vehicles.
Robstons.
The Rubstons.
No, she thinks that genies come out of military vehicles, so she goes down to the
The
to the
Rub
army museum.
Tanks. The
Rub
Rub
tanks,
Tank.
very good.
Oh, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Rob tanks.
Rub tanks.
That doesn't even sound anything like it. You're reaching. You're
I mean,
embarrassing yourself.
most of this game is
Stop it,
reaching.
Andy.
Okay, a fading
This is going to be the one,
pornography.
Emma. Get
Whoa,
ready.
whoa, 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 whoa! Don't interrupt me in my flow. A fading. See, you've interrupted me now. It's gone. A
Oh,
fading
praise.
pornography format. A fading pornography format. Let's say VHS injects itself with a black market drug, replicating itself to make a better version of itself, where all of its content is now online on a particular website that it might be black and orange in design.
Is it Robs?
It's not rub.
Robs?
It's not rub.
Hubs.
The pornography format used to be
Hubs.
VHS. Yes. The
Hubs glance. You could do.
just
Have a quick
just
look at it.
substance.
Oh,
Just
come on.
substance.
You can't hub glance me and tell me that rub tanks was bad.
It's
Look,
the
I'm playing.
porn
This is your
hubstance.
game, all right? Like
It's a
you've
difficult one.
made
It's
me
much.
have to be shit. You put me in a position where
Did
shitness
any
was my only option.
did
Now,
anyone even get mine right?
Yeah, I said hub.
the porn hub stance.
That's correct. You got it. That's it. Is that better than rub tanks? Probably
No.
not.
Yeah, actually, it was. Yeah.
Rub wanks.
I'm not. I would not go there, Ben. I think maybe that is the that is all we're wringing out of the substance that you got any left.
Uh, no. I
Say
haven't.
no.
Sorry.
But say,
Say
Ben, you're
Just
suing
say
me
no.
if you're trying to
Do
get
you
more
know what?
spinal fluid out of this rhyme.
Sometimes in this show, I sense the vibe and I bypass the name game. I go, we're better than that. For some reason, I didn't think
Wait,
about doing
some
it today.
people get to not.
Yeah. You know, if sometimes you've had a really long, serious chat about a film and then you just can't bring yourself to
Oh
go,
yeah.
nubstance, knobstance,
Oh,
wank tanks, whatever you said.
Yeah, more.
Now we've got to rate the film A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Rate good or rate bad. Emma Cownley, how would you like to
it's gonna be an A,
rate?
hands down. No
Is it
question about
is it an A
Are
plus?
you tempted for a plus or just a regular?
it. It did make me feel really depressed and forlorn. So it doesn't get a plus or a star because it made me feel bad about myself and about the state of the world.
Bloody hell.
But it was amazing.
I I'm gonna go for A as well. I was thinking like A minus, but I think A is probably fair. I think it is my film of the year so far. And you know, I loved The Clumps. I love Nutty Professor and Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, which is basically the same film. This film has ripped those films off. I'm joking, of course. But an A, whereas The Nutty Professor is an A plus.
It's an edgy, nutty professor. That's how you should pitch it to
Yeah, it's
people.
edgy.
I'm the Nutty Professor, but
Do you like The Nutty
women and
Professor? I love
edgy.
it, yeah. I love it. I love Eddie Murphy. He's playing all the characters. It's great. It's a great film. Basically, it's going, yeah. Beauty standards. Some of these 90s films really have beauty standards on lock. Shallow Hal being one of them. Jesus Christ. Have you watched that recently? My
They felt
God.
they could say anything they liked about those women.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was going to say people in glass houses, guys.
Yeah. Exactly. Andy, are you rating this one?
I'm gonna join you on an A. Oh, Ben, I was just getting ready because I was just imagining. I had my hands in this wise because I imagined that when you did the highlights for this, you might like splice together, much like in The Substance, the monstrous creature at the end. Clips of us giving a very serious substance review with just the mom from the Nutty Professor doing the Hercules clapping. Um, yeah,
I thought you were just praying to God because you're a man of the cloth.
like, dear Lord, please give me some more
Which
rhymes.
cloth would you choose to be a man of?
Yeah.
Maybe
Velvet?
the devil's sequin dress that we heard about earlier. The devil.
Give me a rating for God's sake.
I already did, didn't I? In my mind, I did it today.
Yeah.
In my mind, I did.
It's you that sidelined me then, asking why I was praying.
I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I was just replicating you.
So
A's
yeah,
all round.
A for me. A great
It's
film,
a triple A.
very effective. Great, amazing performances, incredibly shot. We can have a laugh about it, but deeply sad, deeply affecting as a movie. I think a lot to say, and I'm delighted that it's getting big audiences and it's getting a lot of attention because I think it deserves to do exceptionally well.
I agree. It's like I knew that it was a huge deal because the first thing I did when I left that cinema after talking to Axel and making sure that he was okay was text my sister. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even care that it was like 1 a.m. I was like, I've just seen this film. It's gonna be the next big thing. Mark my words, it's gonna change the genre, it's gonna do this. I was like, and I've can't really recall a time when I've ever done that before. So that's how I knew.
Hell yeah.
A very special moment, I think, when you see something like this, especially in a time when, you can be honest, sick of franchise stuff in lots of ways, to see something new and exciting.
Yes, I'd agree with that. No
There we
more
go, then.
sequels, prequels, screedoos.
I want a prequel to The Substance where the same thing happens, but to someone else. Okay, that's what I want.
Yeah, where they find the two bodies. It's like Saw 2, where they come in and they're like, "Oh, here's the bodies. What's this substance?"
Let's research this.
I've taken the substance as
or just the
well.
heartwarming story about how Dennis Quaid rose to his successful position as a TV executive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I've never, like him as a young man, I've never tried prawns before.
Oh, Jesus.
I've never fired Demi Moore before.
Yeah. Or when he makes that promise to her when she is like,
We'll
just
get
merely
to know what it is. Yeah.
just merely a 20-year-old. You'll work on this network forever.
There we go then. That's The Substance. How lovely. Emma, where can our listeners find more of you online apart from past episodes of the show, of course?
You can find me mostly on TikTok at EJ Cownley. That's where I hang out now that Twitter has gone down the shitter.
Yeah.
Twitter's gone down the shitter. Bum.
I'm teetering on the edge because you don't want to lose historical stuff, but like, do I just
literally
burn this account?
Some of my favorite directors have followed me on there. I can't get rid of the account now.
Yeah.
That'll be admitting defeat.
Even though I'm not tweeting anything.
Yeah, I occasionally when Ben does the Lord's work of putting our new episodes on, I go on there and retweet it and then get out of there.
The Lord's work. I'm doing it. Right. Thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to all of our patrons over there. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Horror Hangout Podcast. You'll find us. And we've got a website now, www.horrorhangout.co.uk. So it's got all of that stuff in one place if you need to find it. Next week, Gone Jam, Haunted Asylum with special returning guest Stu Freeman. Looking forward to it. But thank you. Remember, you are one. We are one. The three of us, we are one. We are different versions of the same person. Who was the original? We'll never know.
Well, which one of us is the oldest?
Probably me.
Yeah. But that would assume that one of us is a better version of Andy, and then that. Let's take one for the team.
You're welcome, guys. You're wither my finger. Good night, everybody.
Andy, give me some more of that spinal fluid tonight, will you?
I need another spinal tap.
Yeah.
See you later, everybody. Thanks again, Emma.
Bye. Thank you.